All right. Welcome, one and all, to the latest episode of the Xbox 2 podcast. This is episode 416. Getting up there, almost at 500, Jez. I'm
You're getting
uh,
there.
I'm one of your hosts, Randall Thor 19, the man with the million, and with me is my Gears compatriot, who's been chomping at the bit to talk about his experience with Gears E-Day, one and only Jez Corden, Windows Central. What's going on, man?
Yeah,
How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good.
Yeah.
I'm just sleep cycle's crazy. I got up at 5 p.m. today, so that's fantastic. I haven't seen sunlight for a week,
Oh yeah.
which is handy because it's
Yeah.
like 38 degrees Celsius here right now. It's like a sauna. I'm podcasting from a sauna. It's rough, bro. It's
Rough.
rough in these German streets.
All right.
Deutsche Straße.
You know, it's funny. I'm not going to mention what we talked about, but me and Jeb just had like an epic discussion before the show, and I totally won it, of course. But
Ah,
Jez kept on saying I was mean, and it's not something we could
you
talk
are
about in the
mean.
podcast at all, realistically, because whatever.
Maybe we could talk about it a little bit later. Maybe
We
if
won't.
it
We
comes
won't.
up.
We won't reference this as the conversation we were having. But still,
Yeah, maybe we'll see. See if you can spot it.
mm.
But yeah, it's
I mean, I
it's only
won.
Friday. We've been consistent recently.
That
sorry,
is
go on.
true. Although, I don't know what it is, but it feels like Tornado Alley has shifted into my backyard because,
Oh,
like
that's not good.
right now it's like 80 some odd degrees. We're supposed to get like a storm that lasts 24 hours, and I can already look out the window and it's already gray, so I can already tell it's coming. But there was in June, we had to miss a podcast because I literally was out without power for 2 days. And it was one of the worst storms I've ever seen. Like 80 mile an hour, like it basically almost was like a tornado around here. Like it was ridiculous. And on Monday, we had another bad storm. And I lost power for a day and a half. And I never, like, growing up, I don't think we were ever really without power for more than, like, I don't know, maybe like 3 hours or something, 4 hours, even a bad storm. But we've had like two massive, ridiculous storms. I mean, how we had a tornado touch down like 10 miles away, and not that long. We had like in Chicagoland area, there was like 6 tornadoes that landed on Monday. It was ridiculous. And I don't remember it ever being like this, where the storms are so bad. Dude, we had hail the size of golf balls. Like, just sitting here in my house with the the power went out. I'm sitting there, and it sounded like someone was playing the drums on my roof because of all the hail.
Roof?
Yeah, on the roof.
The roof.
I was just sitting there, just listening to the sound of like hail just smacking against the roof, and then watching it break the window of the next door neighbors. Like that, it was pretty bad. And
Yeah, the weather is spooky worldwide. Like, I look out outside my window right now, and like usually it's like green hills. The green hills are now gray and yellow because there's been no rain for like weeks and weeks and weeks, and all the plants are dead.
Dude, we're getting like so much rain the next 24 hours. You need to come here.
Send some of it here.
Yeah, we got all the rain, bro. Got all the rain and all the wind and all the tornadoes and everything. But yeah, it's
We got nothing. We got nothing.
Yeah, well,
We got heat and dying.
Are you in the UK or are you in Germany?
Right? No, I'm in Germany right now, but I am going back to England next week, and England's officially declared a drought, I think.
Okay.
England, the country of rain, has declared a drought.
Isn't it like if you go to England, there's a good chance it's always going to rain?
Yeah. I mean, usually, but I guess not anymore. We're all going to die, bro.
Yeah, we're all going to die.
We're all going to die.
We're all going to run out of water because of the data centers.
I can't believe we got the apocalypse before GTA 6.
Bro, we only got a couple more months to GTA 6. I mean, we got a strong lineup of games. And I guess before we start like show proper, what is your most anticipated list looking like for the rest of the year? Since we're about to come into August, and yeah, I mean, August does have a couple games coming out that I think you probably interested in, but I mean, we're about to run the gamut of crap ton of
There's a lot.
releases. So if you had to rank stuff,
Rank.
you know, give me your top 5. The top 5 games you're looking forward most to playing this fall.
I actually it's interesting you said that because
You
I
should write
actually
an
put out a
article
tweet.
about it or something.
All right. Yeah, I wrote an article. I put out a tweet about it. I was just, 'cause I was trying to collect like what are the games that are coming out soon that I need to pay attention to for content, and it was like, holy shit, there's actually a lot. So there's like Star Wars Zero Company coming out in about a month.
No, yeah,
Beast of Reincarnation coming out in about a week, and I've been playing Beast of Reincarnation for review, so stay tuned for that. Gears of War E-Day, October 6th, of course.
Of course.
Onimusha, Way of the Sword,
Course,
September 4th.
Yeah.
Guns of Eschaton, which is the final game from the artist behind Dishonored and Half-Life. He passed away sadly last year, but not before building the art style for Guns of Eschaton. So that's like a Souls-like FPS dark fantasy western. Looks absolutely wild, so there's that. But there's also stuff like Final Fantasy Resonance, Mortal Shell 2, Minecraft Dungeons 2, Fable, Clockwork Rev, of course. Blood of the Dawnwalker's coming out next month. Castlevania, Bellman's Curse, that looks good.
Yeah, Castlevania.
And then Stalker 2 DLC and 2.0 update. There's Dragon's Dogma 2 DLC that I'm interested in. There's tons of stuff. There's a bunch of indie games as well.
Yeah.
Silver Pines, Alpha Layer in chat reminded me. Silver Pines, I completely forgot about that. Silver Pines looks amazing. Like a side-scrolling kind of survival horror kind of game. It looks amazing. Plague Tale Resonance. Ace Combat 8. Never really been into Ace Combat, but a lot of people are into that.
I used to like Ace Combat like back in the day, but I sort of kind of moved away from like flying games like that.
Oh!
But people
Metal Gear Solid Master Collection.
That Metal Gear Solid 4, right?
Yeah, Metal Gear Solid 4,
finally
yeah.
removed from its shackles of the PS3 after all these years.
Yeah.
The memes that it generated when it was like, oh, Metal Gear Rising Revenge, Metal Gear 4 is going to come to Xbox 360 in a 10-disc case or whatever. I remember seeing all those memes. What was the last game you mentioned?
Hellraiser.
Hellraiser. Yeah.
I played Hellraiser at Summer Game Fest. It's probably the most violent game I've ever played in my entire life.
I mean, Hellraiser is kind of be like that though. Those movies.
Yeah, it sure does. It's that game's gonna upset people, I think.
I mean, what's funny is like Hellraiser is such a weird franchise because the first 2 movies are pretty good, right? And then I don't know, it feels like most horror franchises go that way. Like, when you look at like Nightmare on Elm Street or Jason, where it's like the first couple are kind of very serious, and then the last ones are just kind of just garbage, trying to be funny.
They become
like Freddy Krueger becomes
parodies of themselves.
Yeah, Freddy Krueger becomes this wisecracking like jokester, towards like the end. And saying like Hellraiser didn't really do that, but the movies just became awful.
Yeah, they did. Yeah,
and it's
they really did.
I don't know what it is with like horror franchises where I guess maybe you run out of ideas or what have you.
Did you see? I watched a bunch of the newer Hellraisers, which are still pretty old now by today's standards, but there's one of them set in space.
Yes, yeah, I remember watching that one. Yeah, yes.
It's like Hellraiser in space.
Why not, man? I mean, they did Jason in space, didn't they?
They sure did, yeah.
So I mean, Jason X, I believe it was. So
yeah,
when in doubt, do it in space.
Go to space.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So.
Oh man, but yeah, I don't know. But yeah, the Hellraiser the game seems very much like inspired by the first 2 movies. It's very 80s. It's very Resident Evil. It gave me Resident Evil 7 vibes. First person survival horror, find the keys, backtracking kind of thing. But also a lot more action oriented because there's just loads of enemies coming at you, and you've just got like baseball bat. There's just God, it's so violent. But I also think like it might come across as a bit ridiculous because it's so over the top.
No,
it's not. It's not so. It is not so. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Anyways, lots of games coming out in the next few years, next few months. Sorry, obviously next few years, but next few months. There's like tons of other games that I've like are in the backlog for me as well that I just haven't got around to yet. I really wanted to play Quarantine Zone. I'm just looking at games I've got installed that I haven't gotten around to yet. I really wanted to play Quarantine Zone. Shift at Midnight is looks pretty good. I've been playing Hell's Us a little bit because it just hit Game Pass. I haven't even touched Mina the Hollower yet. Replaced, I haven't played yet. Assassin's Creed, I've got all these games installed. It's just like, where am I going to find the time for any of this?
Well, you got to find them between
I don't
now
know.
and the September and October and November, because that's kind of what it is. Like I just finished Halo. Like I got all the achievements, so I finished Halo. I had to do 3 playthroughs. Although to be fair, the last 2 playthroughs went by pretty quick. Like beating the campaign and remixed, you had to beat the whole campaign without dying, which to be fair on easy is pretty easy regardless. So I just like ran through the levels again, and like the only one that really kind of was, it wasn't any trouble, but you think it would be, is like the Lasso playlist on Legendary. Legendary is not difficult, but Lasso makes it ridiculously hard. But for whatever reason, putting on the difficulty modifiers still gives you credit for doing the level. So I basically ran through the game on Lasso by myself, and that was also pretty easy with the gameplay modifiers on, with 300% damage and 300% less, damage taken and a bottomless clip. Like you could just literally never had to reload your gun, like infinite rocket launcher or infinite whatever, and just go to town and everything dies right away. So it was like ran through the game 2 more times super fast, and now I got all the achievements.
Sounds pretty fun.
Moving on, I need to go back to Assassin's Creed to finish that, because I have like 25 hours into it, but I haven't finished it. I still have to play Lego Batman, which I really want to play. Like you, I haven't played Replaced yet, but I hear after a few updates, Replaced is actually a lot better in the state than it was when it launched. So
yeah, it sounds like waiting to play Replaced was the good play,
Yeah.
because it was bit had issues.
I still have like Hades 2 to play, because
God, yeah, I haven't even touched that.
yeah, I mean, there was a time there where I was only playing really Marathon, because I have like 480 hours in Marathon. But Marathon's dead now. It's over. Not that the game shut down, but basically they ruined Season 2 and we stopped playing it. So it's like, yeah. But I mean,
You're not trying the PvE mode? The Marathon PvE?
There's no point, because like it's siloed. The PvE mode is siloed against everything else. So it's like you go in, and anything you find you can't extract with. So what's the point? And then like, yeah, you get like vault credits or whatever, which you can then exchange for weapons that you can use in like the regular mode. But it's like, well, what's the? I just don't. I get why they're doing it, because I think they feel this is the only way to save the game. That if you're gonna, clearly people coming in to try the PvP or the extraction stuff is a non-starter anymore. So you have to offer a PvE thing. Except the problem is like the PvE, like fighting the robots, isn't very interesting whatsoever. At least in my opinion, as someone who's put 480 hours in the game, like fighting the robots is the least exciting part of the game. But for people who wanted to experience the game and whatever story it does have, and like the cool art, and I can say like Cryo, the map Cryo is a very, very cool map. But I don't really think it offers much. But they did say like there's gonna be like a bigger mode for Season 3. I just don't think. The problem is it's like still gonna be $40, and I don't know. Like I think the game needs to be free to play, but they've done free weekends where like it really didn't increase the numbers. I mean, they did this. They launched that thing and it had like, it went from like 5,000 players on Steam up to like 13,000, and then literally the next day it went back down to what it was. So people tried it out and then immediately stopped playing it. So I don't know. I'm pretty much over Marathon at this point. But because of that, like there's a couple games I still need to play, and then like you said, I'm very interested in Amnesia. I can't wait to play that. But it also comes out the same day as Blood of the Dawnwalker, which looks really cool.
Yeah.
And they talked about how like the big open worlds and stuff, and how they didn't want to go that route. They wanted to like kind of make it more smaller but more dense, because they feel like that's a better way to go about it. And that's something that really kind of speaks to me, because I always like there was always this rush with open world games where it's like our map is 20 times bigger than our previous map and 30 times bigger than anybody else's map. And it's sort of just like, I don't like the ever increasing, like, just bigger things to do. Like, I always really enjoyed, like, where you had this, like a smaller map, but you had more things to do and it was more dense, whether it was like vertical or whatever. So like reading that makes me like, okay, well, you know, maybe I don't give it. I mean, it looks really good, but it's like also like Amnesia's the same day, and it's like, how am I gonna juggle this, right? So, there's that, and then like Wolverine, which you didn't mention because you don't have a PlayStation, but I mean, I'll be playing Wolverine. That's like the next week, and then you have like you didn't even mention Control either when you were talking about all the games, and I think the devs came out this week and said the length of the game is 30 hours, Jez, when the length of the game of the first game was 12. So, I mean, that's we'll see how that goes. There's the Rayman game, which I love those Rayman games. And I'm just going off the top of my head, like, you know, there's the Star Wars Galactic Race, or not, yeah, the Galactic Racer in October, and like you said, Castlevania and Gears E-Day, all this stuff that I kind of want to play, and then of course the big game, Grand Theft Auto. So there is a shit ton to play this fall, and it's gonna be like there's literally gonna be something every single week, you know. So
Yeah.
exciting times, and then it doesn't even stop in the next year because I think in January you have Stranger Than Heaven, the new game from the Yakuza devs, and then February is absolutely jam-packed with releases, so it doesn't even really seem, you don't even really get a breather. I mean, you might get a breather. If you're not interested in Grand Theft Auto, you get a breather for a couple months, but if you are, it's kind of like, that's going to come out, and then you got a couple months, and then like all the other games start to come out again, where they like all these devs think it's like, okay, like, oh yeah, maybe it's okay to come out and release our game, and then they're gonna be like, by the way, GTA Online drops in February, and then all those February games are gonna be like, oh shit, we need to delay, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, um, yeah, let's you know, let's get into the
Oh
nitty
shit!
gritty. What's going on?
I completely forgot Control Resonant.
That's
as
what
well.
I said. That's what I said. I'm like, Control's coming out. You didn't mention it. You actually really liked it. You made a video about it, and you didn't even say anything.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
because it's how many games are coming out. How do you feel about Control being 30 hours long though? You didn't say anything to that.
I mean, that's roughly how long the original was,
No,
right?
the original was like 12.
With the deal, with the DLC.
Yeah, but I mean the DLC all didn't come out at once though. I mean like the
I
specific.
suppose I put about 30 hours into the original, but that was with all the DLC. So, and I did that. I did that in like just under a week. So I think like if it's fun, I think that's good. You know, I felt
Mhm.
like Control One, like I felt was a good length with all the DLC because I played the Ultimate Edition, right? So yeah, I'm down for that.
I mean,
But it has to be fun. Has to be fun.
has to be fun. I just ended up buying Doom: The Dark Ages Revelations DLC because it's already half off. So like I gotta play that. I know you had glowing praise for it on last show because you loved it, right?
Yeah.
No, did you even know what I said? Sounds like you're distracted, as usual.
Yeah, a little bit distracted. Sorry.
Yeah.
Repeat that last bit.
I said I bought Doom Revelations because it's on sale for 50% off already. And I'm looking forward to playing that. And then you mentioned on last show how much you loved that DLC.
It's 50% off already.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Hmm.
Yep.
That's worth
50%
it.
off. It's probably worth it at $20, but it's on sale for $10. So anybody that's really wants to play it, it's on sale for half price already, which is kind of crazy when you think about it. But I mean,
Yeah,
there is like
it's really good. There's like there's this whole end game system which I haven't really sunk my teeth into yet, but just the base of it's just fantastic still. I think if you should absolutely go and if you're on the fence about it, 50% off is like that's a no-brainer for me. I'm also just I just had to edit something for someone, so sorry about being distracted there, but I also saw Mortal Shell 2 open beta just went live, so I'm downloading that.
yeah, Mortal Shell 2 also comes out in August, I think. Which
yeah. I was trying to play Mortal Shell 1 to sort of, you know, get more acquainted with the universe and stuff because Mortal Shell 2 is very fun. Played that. I played the demo for that on Steam. But Mortal Shell 1 is it is hard, man. It is really, really hard. Um, some people, some people say like it's one of them where it starts really hard and it gets easier as you get more powerful and stuff. But God, the initial section where you're basically like naked is it is brutally hard. So it's kind of like I kind of want to be in the right mindset before I try and give that a proper go. I haven't really been feeling Souls likes recently. I've just been like, I just want something easy and brainless at the moment. So I haven't really like been wanting to play games where you have to sit there and like properly lock in, you know. Although this Gears E-Day footage you're seeing, like this is on one of the higher difficulties. Um,
Sure it
I
is.
didn't play Siege mode on.
Sure it is.
No, it is. I mean, you should be able to tell. Um, but like, I think I did like. I think there's one game where it's on like the normal difficulty, and I was like, you know, I want this to be more chaotic, and also because the queue was really long, so I thought like maybe if I queue for high difficulty, the queue would be shorter, and it was shorter. I felt like most people were playing it on the high difficulty, but the chaos in the higher difficulty is just like
Yeah, I mean,
absolutely nuts. So you will see me die a lot in this footage.
well, you know, it's how it is. But we'll definitely talk about the gear stuff. But let's get it going. Let's do some housekeeping really quickly. Um, our
Let's log out of
sponsor,
Slack so no one can message me.
our sponsor, of course, is as it always been for the last I don't know, few months, a year, is Sheriff Stark. They got a wonderful deal for our
Indeed.
Xbox 2 listeners, 86% off 2 years. No ad read today, but just to let you guys know, links in the description. Link is pinned to the comment section if you want to protect yourself online, and we also kind of get a commission cut for that stuff. So keep that in mind. And Jez, we also have the wonderful Patreons. Question and answer thread is up, all that good stuff. So since no ad read, why don't you read off the wonderful Patreon names, since you do a much better job of it than I do.
A Jedi bot of it. We've got yeah. We've got Patreon peeps. Patreon is available from $1.99. Lowered the price of it recently. $1.99 a month. You get newsletter, extra shows. We did XB2 plus one with Zorka last week, and we're doing XB2 plus one with Scarcely Relevant next week. So stay tuned for that, and also a Q&A section on every show. And also, I often post a bit insider knowledge there sometimes that I can't publish publicly. So this week's Patreon MVP shoutouts go to Adam Bartolo, Aloran Grogu, Ice Tia Madison, Bad Haddock, Briggs Country, Bright Tundra 1, Silas, Deku 2511, Discarded Caboose, NX Governor Grim, I am Chuck Dubb, I'm Mike Zero in the Machine, James Moore, James Wezzo, Justin Duell, Just James 93, Katriox, Lazar Wolf, Matt Murray, Pat Rock, Frosty, Psycho Mantits, Randall 419, RS Donks, Sean Kramer, Shay Elephant, Shrapnel, Tricks Off a Tray, Vito Chiaramonte, Woggerman, Wolfgang KBZ, and Youngblood 8. Thank you all for sticking with us.
Yes. Yes, indeed. Like I said, Q&A threads up. We will definitely answer all the questions at the end of the show. But what do you want to start with first, Jez? What's on your mind? Any specific thing you want to talk about? I want to talk about your article real quickly. It's kind of like the first headline I put into the title, which Xbox Helix. You wrote an article about Helix and all that stuff. So let's talk about that. So what was your article about? Let's talk about it.
So this is something that's been on my mind for quite a while now.
I mean, we've talked about it on the show before too. Like, what do we do? You know, so like, you wrote it in article form, yeah.
And it's something, I think it's something the community's gone back and forward on, and people do generally seem pretty split on the topic. I mean, like, you can see the comments on the article. There's like 60 comments on the article, which is a lot for us.
It's a lot of comments.
Yeah, it is. It's crazy. So people are very passionate and split on this topic because there's one camp, you know, and I think me and Colin Moriarty had a discussion about this on Sacred Symbols Plus in the past, where it's like, if you put Steam on Xbox, everyone's just going to use Steam, you know, or a significant amount of people are going to use Steam.
I wouldn't say everybody, but a good amount of people would choose to use Steam on it. Yes.
Yeah, I think like a significant amount of people at the very least, and I recently received some documents which gave
Are these of
the data's
are these of the internal variety?
They are indeed of the internal variety. Although the information's pretty old, but at least we can identify some trends from it. Like these documents from a few months ago now. So basically the documents are sort of like a post-launch analysis of how the Xbox Ally's gone, right? And user behavior therein.
Which, by the way,
and a bunch of others
has not increased its price yet. So if you are looking
somehow
to buy it, now's probably a good time, because I would imagine it's not going to stay at that price point for very long. So
absolutely not, yeah.
If you're looking, might be a good time, because you never know.
Yeah, definitely. It's kind of wild how it stayed low price, but I'm guessing it's because Asus buys its memory wholesale, right? And it's probably like they're not just buying it for the Ally, they're buying it for their laptops, they're buying it for other stuff. So they've purchased RAM in a huge volumes that perhaps even Xbox doesn't really approach. But I don't know. That's just a theory, a tech theory. But anyways, the documents suggest that like on the face of it, it suggests two things. First of all, and this is, I kind of buried the lead a little bit on this when I was writing it, and I kind of wish I hadn't. This is a mistake on my part. But it does say in the documents that 75% of Xbox Ally owners have Game Pass, right? Which is an absolutely enormous attach rate. I think we can't I think I kind of took that stat for granted when I wrote the article originally, because that's like a huge amount of people. Like that's like orders of magnitude more than like a regular gaming laptop or another kind of device.
Well, to be fair, we don't know the actual numbers that the Ally sold. So 75% of a million.
No. I'm
75%
sure.
of a million is 750,000. It's like, well, I get it. Like, yeah, that's a lot of Xbox Game Pass subscribers, but like the reality of it is like they haven't shipped that many Allies, so like the actual number is probably pretty low.
No. Sure, but this isn't about the amount of users on Game Pass. This is about the user behavior.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. You're so right. 100%. Yes.
So we can't. The point of this is to extrapolate how users will behave in an environment where Steam is present on Helix.
Where you have a choice between like the Xbox Store, PC Store, and Steam, right? Like when you essentially have that choice.
Yeah. So while I think the Xbox Ally sold hundreds of thousands of units, probably not millions, and a lot of those users are already existing Xbox users, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're looking at it from a user behavior perspective, you can use the Xbox Ally where Steam is an option to sort of gain some inference on how people might behave if the Xbox Helix is around, right? So 75% of Xbox Ally users use Game Pass. Dark Fox 24K in chat says, yeah, but Game Pass PC is cheaper. 65% were on Ultimate. So the data actually, it says it in there. Only 11% were on PC Game Pass. 64% were on Ultimate.
Can I ask a question? When you bought the Ally, did it come with like any sort of 3 months of Game Pass Ultimate for free type deal?
Yes, but it was only for new users, I think.
Okay.
Well, I think the code doesn't work for existing users. But
fair enough.
Again, this is I think you get 3 months. If I remember correctly, I think you get 3 months of premium if you're a new user.
Okay.
Right. So, and the split was like in the data, it was like 11% are on PC Game Pass, and the rest were on Ultimate. And there wasn't even any data for premium. So it was like nobody's on premium.
Or nobody who bought the Ally was on premium, essentially. Right?
Yeah. Well, as PC Game Pass is a better deal than premium, so it's not a shock there. So there was that. Most people are on Ultimate. So the point there is like 75% of those users, they have to use the Xbox PC store. They have to, because that's how Game Pass is delivered on the Xbox Ally. It's via the PC store, right? But the data I was interested in was like, how are new users behaving? Because with Helix, it's going to be potentially a very different device, and it's going to appeal to people who have Steam, and it's going to potentially appeal to people who want a more open device. And the whole point of changing the paradigm is to do something different to PlayStation and be like, we're offering something different here, you know, to try and get new users. So I was interested like in how those new users are behaving. And a lot of the discussion around putting Steam on Xbox Helix has revolved around like, will everyone just go to Steam? And like, okay, well, 75% are on Game Pass, so they're locked into the PC store. But of that 25% that aren't, it was something like 98% went to Steam, right? And if they didn't already have an Xbox Series X, so like no, they're not interested in Play Anywhere. 98%, between 98 and 96% went to Steam, right? So at most, 4% were trying out the Xbox ecosystem. So I was kind of like, is this sort of an implication that if Helix did ship with Steam, would most of those non-Game Pass using members go to Steam just ignore Xbox PC altogether? And does that not concentrate this kind of inorganic adoption that we see on Xbox PC, where developers will only use Xbox PC if they land a Game Pass deal? And honestly, is that even a bad thing? You know, is it necessarily a bad thing that Game Pass is the vehicle upon which Microsoft's being able to compete with Steam? Maybe Game Pass is the only way they can compete with Steam, because clearly Epic Game Store's like model is not really working that well for them. So I kind of presented it as like a both sides kind of thing. Like here's the for argument, here's the against argument. And people are very passionate about this. A lot of people were like, I absolutely want Steam to be on Helix. This is kind of what they've pitched. They've pitched an open device that has access to PC stores. And to be fair, I even write in the article, Asher doubled down on that. Asher did say in June, Helix will play your PC games.
Yes.
So she doubled down on it. So it does seem like it's going ahead. But I was kind of like, what kind of permutation is this going to take? You know, because one of the issues Xbox has got right now, and if we say we can bleed this into the financials discussion, is that when Call of Duty has an off year, it destroys the whole division.
Which is a terrifying prospect, where like one game literally, if it underperforms, there's significant things you have to do, like layoffs and letting go of studios and all those sort of things. Like,
so for me, it's like you want to grow your third party to offset just a handful of like IP destroying the whole division. Like if Call of Duty Call of Duty and Candy Crush had an off year last year, and also there was no Minecraft movie for the past fiscal year to give Minecraft a boost. So Minecraft probably saw a decline year over year, which is probably why Asher bought it in-house, I would say. And also, when we talk about Asher's memo, she even called out Minecraft specifically. So we'll talk about that as well. So, like, let's assume Minecraft, Call of Duty, and Candy Crush had, like, an off year. That dragged down the whole division. And I think, like... And this is despite the fact that this year's... Or last year, rather. Past fiscal year was very strong on the third-party side. But it's like a lot of those third-party sales have gone to PlayStation and Steam, you know, because you've trained your user base. You've trained your user base to wait for Game Pass, kind of. So it's kind of a tough situation, and I can kind of see all sides of it. My personal opinion is, of course, I want the open device. I want them. I will pay premium to have a device that can do everything. I like that idea, right? But there are downsides. If you make a console that's a PC, quote unquote, you get mods, which is good, but you also get a higher prevalence for hackers potentially, so that's bad. You also get like potentially things like de novo hurting performance of games on the box, and maybe you get situations where devs only ship PC versions to Xbox, and maybe they're not very well optimized. You know, there's like, again, these are like these are speculative downsides. But then also there's a lot of speculative upsides. Like you get games that have never shipped on console and never will ship on console, like World of Warcraft, you know, or League of Legends, or any of these other games. You get like you could use your Xbox for things that aren't necessarily gaming. You could install Streamlabs on it. You could do your podcast through it. You could create content on it. You could use it for your homework. You know, you could like instead of buying your Xbox and putting it under the TV, you could put it on your desk and use it as a mini PC, you know. So there's like that too. Like if it's priced right, it could be an entire open it up to an entire new market of use cases and user scenarios. Because like this is one of the things where PC gaming has become so powerful, I think. And mobile gaming too is because you can use your laptop to do things that aren't gaming related. You can use your mobile phone to do things that aren't gaming related. And I think that's why these platforms have become very dominant because of their versatility. So there's that. But then there's also the money aspect of it, Rand.
Mm-hmm.
If you've got an open box, you have to make a profit on the hardware. You can't subsidize the hardware as well. And Valve specifically said the reason the Steam machine is so expensive is because it's an open device. You can potentially install Windows on it and they won't see a penny. So if they're losing money on the device sold, each user that doesn't use Steam actually costs them money, and potentially to the tune of millions of dollars, which isn't a smart business model. So if it's open, you have to sell it as a premium. And then you start thinking about like, well, who's going to want to buy a $1,300 box? If you know, optimistically, is anyone going to want to buy a $1,300 box? Is your next generation of gamers going to want to buy a $1,300 box? Because one of the big things, the existential issues in gaming right now is like finding those new younger users, you know? So
if that's
it was
even
kind of
possible
like,
anymore.
if it's even possible. So this is kind of like a big discussion piece about what the strategy could be, inspired by the pros and cons of what Steam on the box was going to be, inspired by Matthew Ball saying they're rethinking aspects of Helix, and inspired by Asher saying that they're doubling down on your PC stuff. So yeah, I was just kind of like, I wanted to put that out there and start the discussions because I think things might change.
I mean, because, you know, to be fair, they never said Steam was going to be on there. People just assumed it was. Like, even Phil, when Phil talked about that, he mentioned GOG and he mentioned Epic. So, like, Steam, I think people just assumed it was going to be there because it's the dominant store on PC. So it's like, well, it makes sense for Steam to be there. And even at the time, we're like, I don't know how the business is going to, like, how does that work out if you have like somebody else's store on there, especially, you know, potentially that like does better sales, or, you know, it doesn't have a multiplayer access that you have to pay for, and all these sort of things where you compare Xbox store versus a Steam store. It's like, well, how does that work? Are you just setting it up where it's like you're just trying to shoo your Xbox users into moving to PC because you don't really want to do hardware anymore? And it was like, but then at the idea of it of like, hey, here's this pretty powerful, you know, console that's really a PC that maybe could like dominate the mid-range PC discussion and be something that we never seen, where you have your Xbox games and you have like, oh, anything from Steam. Like, it's a very interesting device, even if you're not really sure how the whole business reality works around it. And then, well, new leadership came in and thinking maybe changed a little bit, because all of a sudden they're talking about console again. And even in Asha's memo that Tom Warren put out, one of the first things that like one of the C's I think they talked about was like core and console, right? I have to look at the memo to get the four. Like, let me look real quickly. What was the four she mentioned? Which I'm sure we'll talk about more at length. But let's see. The four C's: core, content creation, and connection. Strengthen our platform led by console. And it's like, well, if you have Steam on there and you're kind of giving up, you know, it's like if you know that people are going to buy it and never use your store, you kind of need to price it so you're making a profit off the top, but then that makes it really more expensive. But then it's already going to be expensive because of the RAM apocalypse, so you're kind of like you're in this weird situation where it's like, well, how expensive do we want it? And if you're leading with the core, specifically with the console's got to at least be somewhat priced. I don't know, manageably. I like the idea of like a $1,300 box is kind of, I don't really see that many people buying it, right? Even if some of them are Xbox fans, and I don't know, but and
Well, part of me is like, you know, if it selling lower volumes in a healthier business might just be like better margins, you know, maybe for them. And again, this isn't my opinion, like, or what I want to happen. I'm just describing their
right. No,
mentality.
I mean the fact that
like,
you had the data from the Ally that basically says they didn't have they didn't have Game Pass, or no, if they had Game Pass and they had the console, then it was like there's like a 30% chance that they use the Xbox store, right? But if they didn't have a console, then basically they just use Steam on the device, and it was just a Steam box for people, right?
Yeah.
Which then kind of translates to Helix, where, well, how many people would be buying it just to put Steam on there? So then you add up like a whole bunch of changes. Well, Stephen Totillo asked her about this when she took over, and she said basically that was a previous administration's decision, and the way they're really talking up console and strengthening the core and all that stuff, and potentially, I don't want to say completely pulling back on the multi-platform aspects of it, but I definitely think they are pulling back in a significant manner of their multi-platform approach to a lot of their games, where before it was like almost assumed every game's going to be multi-platform, and now I don't think that's the case anymore. And it's I we've talked about this before, where we say like, do you think Steam's going to be on there? And when Phil was in charge, I'd be like, absolutely, like, yeah. But with Asha here and like all this sort of stuff, I'm starting to lean into, actually, I don't think Steam's going to be on the box anymore. In fact,
yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if maybe Epic and Xbox come to some sort of revenue share agreement, and like Epic's on the device. So like Asha's not lying when she said your PC games will be playable, because like, well, the Xbox and PC stuff would be there. I don't know. They're in a very interesting position, because like she's promised to, bring Xbox back to profitability next fiscal year. Everybody knows they got hardware coming, and everybody knows because of the RAM apocalypse that it's going to be expensive. But then it's like, how expensive do you want it? And if we put Steam on there, is it just basically a de facto Steam box, and we're just giving our platform away to somebody else? Like, there's a lot of these questions, and I'm glad I don't have to make any of the. Well, I mean, if I was making these decisions, I know which way I'd go. But it's a very interesting time for them, because there's a lot of choices that need to be made, and they're not easy choices realistically, considering of the position they're in, right?
One thing, like, someone told me, like an exec told me before, was like, running your own platform isn't free.
Sure.
Because you have to pay for engineering, servers, and all the rest of it. And they told me, like, when you're running your own platform, at least in the previous years, you're effectively putting a 70% tax on yourself anyway.
Well, so, it costs money to make money, my friend.
It costs money to make money, right? So maybe like maybe it is better margins to be like, well, we'll ship lower volumes of higher margin consoles to rich people, target everyone else on Steam or the devices they've already got, because I do think PS5 and Xbox Series X and S are going to have another very long tail and probably stick around longer than people would want them to.
For that to happen, the prices probably have to come down on Series X and Series S at some point. So if that's the case, they probably need to do a redesign and hope, because it could be around, but nobody's buying those systems at $800, and that's what the Series X is about to be in a couple months. So like, yeah, you could stick around for 4 years, but if it's still $800 in 4 years, who's buying the thing? Not a lot of people.
It's really, really weird, like, because a lot of it for me is kind of like, do they just think younger gamers? Because you have to assume they're thinking about the generational issues that they've got right now. Generational issues being, for example, older gamers are aging out, having kids, and dying. So at some point, you need to like.
You want to hear a hot take? You want to hear a hot take?
Go on, give me a hot take.
I think a lot of the video game industry outside of Nintendo, like PlayStation and Xbox, have resigned to the fact that they've lost the young crowd, and there's probably never getting them back.
Mm.
And because like even if you look
is that not an argument then to make a really expensive box and just monetize the hell out of your older gamers and then just target the younger gamers with Minecraft regardless of where they are?
At least Microsoft has Minecraft and the sort of stuff that appeals to that. But I'm talking specifically about like, you know, PlayStation and Xbox, where you look at PlayStation and what they're doing with physical discs, the physical games situation, right? And you sort of like look at how people used to kind of grow from being a kid, and you know, you kind of would get me hand-me-downs. Like maybe your brother would have a PS2 or a PS1 that maybe you were allowed to play, and like the next generation came out, like he got a PS2 and you got the PS1, and you got games as a hand-me-down, and like, oh well, you know, like I just start working at my new job, and it's like I'm gonna go to GameStop and get some used games. Because even that's not how, I mean, I didn't have an older brother, but that's sort of how I got a little bit into it when I started making my own money. It was like, sure, my grandparents when I was a kid bought me stuff, and my parents, but like when I started working and outside of, you know, like Christmas and birthdays, I get a game, but I go to GameStop and I buy used games because, you know, I didn't have a lot of money. But then you think about how they're doing it. Now everything's more expensive, right? And everything's going to be digital, so everything's locked in. So there's sort of that, like, it becomes price prohibitive for anybody really young to kind of jump in on that stuff. And then you have all these mega franchises already, like the Robloxes of the world and the Fortnites of the world, where people don't care or have an allegiance to some of that stuff. So I sort of wonder if PlayStation's decision, maybe even some of Xbox decisions, are like them sort of being like, yeah, we've lost the fight for the younger generations, and we'll try to get them through Minecraft, and maybe we'll get some of them, like Sony's like, we'll get them through Astrobot or whatever, but like we've sort of potentially given up on like growth. Like look at like what PlayStation decided to do with the disc situation. It's like, and even like it almost kind of looks like they maybe are kind of like, oh, we're not worried about growth, but we're going to squeeze more money out of our players, like by raising the price of the console, by making sure everything's digital, so like we control the sales, so everything's at a higher price point, and we make more money because we'll get a better split, and you know, all these sort of things where it's like, I wonder if they just decided and felt like, you know what, we kind of don't have an answer to the Robloxes and stuff, so they're moving in that direction. I don't know if that's a good decision or not, but it kind of feels that way a little bit. Yeah.
Well, this is one reason why like a lot of people are focusing on like what's Xbox doing, what's Xbox doing. I'm really interested in what they're going to do with Minecraft, because I do think like one of the things that Xbox is really undersold is the fact they own Minecraft. Like you wouldn't even know Xbox owned Minecraft. And if it was me, I'd be using Minecraft to leverage Xbox and grow Xbox, you know. I don't know if like that works, but they haven't even tried to do it, right? So part of me is like, okay, Ash has bought Minecraft in-house now. That is pretty significant. Like up until now, Minecraft's kind of operated as a sort of quasi-independent entity, whereas like anything that Microsoft does with Minecraft has sort of been on the side, like almost licensing Minecraft to itself while letting Mojang sort of do whatever it wants. I think part of that is the structure and the contract that Notch negotiated for Mojang, which is, you know, a cool thing potentially, but at the same time, I think it's just been kind of like one of them. It hasn't helped Xbox really, you know, and I suppose like Minecraft profits have helped subsidize things like Game Pass and trying new things and that sort of stuff. But we're at a point now where like even that's not enough, right? So I think like the better play would be to use Minecraft to make your Xbox platform in general more attractive. Now, how do you do that? You know, I think one of the big things about Roblox and the way it's sort of taken that younger cohort is because it functions a bit more like a social network. But the thing is, Roblox is a fundamentally bad business. I don't know if you've seen this, Rand, but Roblox's share price is down 60% year to date. Investors are like, Roblox's fundamentals are terrible, you know, and they just announced that their financials, and it was not a good look. And they even said, like, I think they said something like, we're going to start reporting, we're going to stop forecasting because, like, well, the forecasts are bad. You know, it's like, you know, Roblox is basically burning through money to compete with these platforms. They're basically using child labor to build games for them. And now a lot of those youngsters are kind of growing up and realizing Roblox is ripping them off and kind of being like, hey, actually, we could make games independently on Steam and make way more money. So, like, Roblox's business model fundamentally might not work. So there's a weakness there potentially that Asher could exploit. And this is one of the things she said in the memo, is turning Minecraft into the platform for creators. So are they going to try and, like, compete with Roblox on, you know, getting those sort of independent developers into the Minecraft platform as developers? And are they going to integrate Minecraft into Xbox as a social layer rather than just a game?
Doubtful.
I think there's a lot of potential there. I don't think so, man.
I mean, it's interesting for sure, but yeah, maybe they don't have to. Maybe it's like we don't have to court the younger audience because Roblox is going to run out of money anyways, and they'll have nowhere to go, I guess. But I don't know.
I mean, eventually someone will buy Roblox, I think, and maybe that's what Microsoft's plan is. It's like, okay, we'll wait for Roblox to become dirt cheap, and then we'll buy it.
Yeah,
I know.
And then the regulators will ban it because they have a monopoly on kids stuff. Like, you have Minecraft and Roblox, you can't be allowed to own that together, right?
Yeah. But hey, there's Wobbly Life, bro. Have you heard of Wobbly Life?
No, I have not heard of Wobbly Life.
Wobbly Life's the new trending new trending kid slop game, Wobbly Life. But I don't know. I think this is another reason why investors are worried about Roblox is because regulators have forced them to put age gates on everything. So it's like, okay, well, if predators can't use Roblox, we're not going to invest in it anymore. Isn't that fundamentally fucked up?
Yeah.
Really? It's like, oh wait, Roblox has to protect kids now? Let's not invest anymore.
Yeah, you know what? Screw it.
Hell?
It's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm super interested in seeing what they ended up doing with Helix, because I think a lot of people have their mindset of what it is and have been thinking about Steam. I mean, hell, do you remember before PlayStation pulled out of Steam? People were like, we're going to be able to play all the PlayStation games on our Xbox Helix, because that was the thing. And then PlayStation's like, actually, we're no longer releasing our games on PC. And now it might be like, well, Xbox, they might not even bother putting Steam on their piece on Helix anymore. So, I mean, almost, it's weird. Like, for a small moment of time, it definitely almost felt like we were at this, like, outside of Nintendo, of course, because they do their own shit. But, like, we were getting to, I don't want to say like a universal like thing, but Xbox games were everywhere. PlayStation put Helldivers on Xbox, and there are rumors that they were looking to put more games on Xbox and all their games on PC. And it was like, oh, it seems like everything's going to be everywhere. And then all of a sudden, in a blink of an eye, everything turned. Like, PlayStation's like, actually, we're not releasing any more games on Xbox, and we're not releasing our new games on PC. And Xbox is like, actually, about the multi-platform stuff, that didn't work, and we're going back to exclusives, you know? So it's like, oh, man, that really took a turn really quickly.
Yeah.
Kind of funny how
it's kind of interesting how, like, Phil almost got his vision, you know? He almost got there. And it was a nice vision, a vision where everyone could play together. Platforms didn't matter. And I'll tell you this, Rand. Console wars are back on, man.
Oh, yeah,
Console wars are back on.
Oh,
like
yeah, they are.
my Gears of War E-Day preview.
Mm-hmm.
I got so much hate for that from PlayStation fanboys.
Oh,
you know,
because
it's like, oh my god, yeah, because it's exclusive.
yeah,
It's like, oh shit, it's just like the old times. Because like, I wrote previews recently for Xbox games, and nobody batted an eye because they were like, oh well, they're coming to PlayStation, so there's no console war. But now Gears of War is exclusive.
Yeah.
All the fanboys have come out of the woodwork like little fucking cockroaches, man.
Yeah, of course.
Squeezing between the woodwork.
They want it. They want it.
The mountain dew.
They feel entitled to
it.
You can't say you're gonna put your games on PlayStation and then remove them. Fuck that. We want this. Like, you see people port begging. There was never that Xbox games weren't good. Is that those people never wanted to spend a dime on Xbox, and then when they thought they won, you know, when they was like, we won, and Forza went there and all these other games, is like, yeah, we got Halo and we got Gears, we got everything, and now that Xbox looks to return to exclusivity, and this is just the beginning, because it's Gears, right? And people are like, oh, well, PlayStation fans are suddenly like, well, Gears was never good or whatever, but just imagine if it's Fallout. Just imagine if it's Elder Scrolls. And the fucking hate,
you imagine?
The hate that would fucking come from those decisions if that was the case. I mean, we've talked about that extensively and no reason to go over it, but if you think it's bad now with Gears, and like, it's also bad because Gears looks really good, right?
Oh, it looks so
like,
good.
Let's talk about that as a segue. Like, both me and you, I got invited, thanks to Xbox, to the Gears multiplayer preview, which I think is the stuff everybody will be playing in the beta coming in August, right?
Yes, I think so, yeah.
So
early access beta.
Yeah, you know, as part of this, it was a little bit of like, you could only play at certain times. So if you couldn't make the times, and you're also kind of like, you know, when you were searching, like, we tried searching, because I played co-op with Colt, and I asked you to play with us, but you were like, oh, my girlfriend's sleeping, sorry, can't play. I'm like, come on, Jez. Like, we need a third, but Jez didn't want to play with me. So
I was sleeping, bro. What do you want me to do?
You weren't sleeping because you answered right away.
Yeah, I weren't sleeping, but she got work, man.
So they were like sessions, like a session in the morning, a session in the evening, where you could play, and like the servers were on and everything. And as someone who has been over Horde mode since like Gears 3, right? Where like Horde, I think, made its debut in Gears 2, and it was like, I don't want to say it was revolutionary, but it was like, oh my god. And, you know, like anything that becomes popular, a lot of games kind of stole from it and stuff. But I've been over Gears mode since Gears 3. It's like, whatever. Like, it's all just the same thing. There's only so much you can do with, like, survive waves 1 to 50, right? Whatever it is. It's like, it was cool a couple times, but now it's kind of boring. I left this preview after 3 hours, like, really, really, really impressed by the new additions and the changes to the Gears formula and the Horde mode, specifically like Siege and Blitz. Like, I think this is pretty damn cool. But I'll let you talk because you're the Gears guy, and I'll go more into my thoughts. But I was really impressed with what I played.
Yeah, man. I played a ton of Gears Horde mode. I think was it Gears? I can't remember, but like I think it was either Gears 3 or Gears 4. I think it was probably Gears 3, where like it was the game me and my friends played. You know, after work, get home, play Horde mode. That was like the thing we did for a long time. And you know, all the way up to like the hardest difficulty, doing 50 waves and the rest of it. And it's weird because you're right that it wasn't necessarily a revolutionary concept. It was like, it's tower defense, but shooter. But it did spawn a ton of copycats. Like,
Yes.
A lot of games went with like, oh, their take on Horde mode. And then some games even like took it even further, and, you know, and now we've got entire games that are basically just Horde mode, you know? So, but I do think Gears dropped off with it to some degree. I think Gears 5's Horde mode was not very well realized. I think they really spread themselves thin with Gears 5. They tried like adding like loads of different modes. They basically threw everything at the kitchen sink rather than being like, I don't know, doubling down on what they had. But it feels like with this one, they're gonna try and be more focused and build on the best things rather than trying all these extra other stuff. I don't know. But anyways, I absolutely loved it. I wasn't really sure what to expect. I kind of went in blind to some degree, and with the sort of, I wasn't sure how fun it would be with 12 players because I was thinking like, oh, it's going to be a really big map and there's going to be a lot of moving around
Which
and
it
not
is. The
much
map's the
like,
map's pretty big.
yeah, it's huge.
It's
And I was
pretty big.
thinking like, I was kind of worried that you'll be running around looking for things to do and that it wouldn't be very dense. Do you know what I mean? It wouldn't be very like condensed. And I was just kind of worried like how they were sort of approaching some of that stuff. But the more I played, the more you realize like this is actually genius because they could make parts of the map sort of specialized for the event that's taking place there. Like, for example, the middle of the map was very huge and open with a sort of circular bunch of cover in the middle. And it's like a perfect arena where you can drop like a corpser or a brumac and then have like a raid boss kind of thing. And then the alert comes up and then it pulls all three squads because it's 12 players, 3 squads of 4 players. And it pulls all those players into the middle to battle like this big boss, which has like mountains of hit points. And it's just like, God, this just feels right. And then like you go off in your separate ways, and there'll be like a smaller corner of the map, like there was a movie theater with a balcony. And then you could have that sort of old school Horde experience where you turtle up in a corner with turrets and gadgets and just sort of funnel everything into a kill zone, which is the sort of Horde experience that I wanted to have, which is this sort of this kill zone kind of like turtling up tower defense kind of thing. So it kind of caters for like multiple different play styles, but I think what really sold it for me above everything was the fact that it made Gears feel more like a war for the first time, which might sound like a weird thing to say, but usually in Gears, when you are like, you're in Delta Squad and whatever, you're like a Spec Ops team on a mission, right? While the main war is taking place somewhere else, and you don't really see the main war, right?
The
Do you know
war's
what I
already
mean?
over, right? Like in the previous Gears games, kind of already.
Yeah. So like they've already lost the war and everything's kind of apocalyptic, and you don't really like, you see the carnage and the aftermath, but the cog are like decimated, and it's always like small skirmishes with like a squad of 2 or 4 players. I think it's always a squad of 4. Sometimes it's 2-player squad or 4-player squad, depending on the game, right? So this is the first time Gears actually felt like an actual war. There's like 12 players. There's bullets flying all over the place. There's dozens of mobs running around, and there's explosions going off in the background with great audio and all the rest of it. And I was just like, this is it. This is the Gears experience that I'd kind of always imagined, or you get hinted at in the books,
and
you don't actually play.
You even mentioned to me, you felt it had a lot of there are a lot of Helldivers 2 influence as well.
It kind of felt like I do feel like they were looking at Helldivers and some of these other PvE kind of games for like the scale factor, right? Where it's like Helldivers really grew the Horde mode sense of scale, I think, to some degree, all that kind of gameplay. It's not like a true kind of Horde mode, but Helldivers is like super dynamic, and it did feel a little bit like they'd look to games like that to grow, maybe. But I was just like, I just love it, man. The only thing I was a bit disappointed with was they didn't give us many toys in the beta.
Wow.
The only we had like the spike trap and the glue and the explosive decoy.
Well,
I wanted to like
you also had the new
some other
gun.
gizmos.
You had the chain gun, which big heavy weapon that was pretty badass to use. There was that. I don't know if you got to use.
Oh, I never got that.
Yeah,
I didn't get to use that. No.
It was
the
pretty
chain
cool.
gun. And there was some new stuff though, like the heavy boom shot, for example. The heavy boom shot is like it almost feels like a more primitive boom shot, where it like fires a cluster of stuff, but it's 2-handed and slow, and you can drop it.
Yeah. Well, it's
and
fun.
yeah, I don't know.
So for me, the first thing I noticed was the improved movement, right? And I think we always talked about this with Gears, where it was like people would be like, "Oh, I want an open world Gears," but open world Gears really didn't make a lot of sense to me because running in Gears is always kind of like doing the roadie run is very restrictive, right? You're like heads down, you're running in a straight line. You really can't kind of get a sense of what's going on around you. You're
You
taking
can't
like
turn.
you can't turn. So like making an open world like Gears kind of was like we need to change the roadie run, and they did. Like the roadie run is it's I don't even know if you call it the roadie run anymore, but you're sprinting.
Just
Sure, your
sprint
head
now.
might be
Yeah.
down, but like it's a lot easier to control. It's a lot smoother. You can so immediately like I noticed that change right away. They added like jump to Y, which I was like a jump button in Gears because now like the mantle you got to press Y and you can jump over gaps and jump up on stuff. So that adds like a different whole dimension to everything. The shooting also, it's been a while since I played another Gears game, but like using the Lancer definitely feels because they call it the prototype Lancer because like the war's just begun or the siege is happening. So I would so it feels less refined than like the Lancer you would have, and like the shots are a little more like dispersed. Like in the previous game, it's like kind of like the clear like line where you're shooting where it's like it goes right on target, but like it's a little bit more spread here and stuff, which I
Yeah.
appreciated. But yeah, when you talk about the aesthetics of it, like with horde mode, it's like whatever, we're doing waves. And I should mention that like you choose horde mode, and there's like three things to choose from. There's blitz, there's siege, and then there's like regular horde. Now I tried searching for horde at one point, couldn't find a game. It's like, okay, we couldn't find it. So we played Blitz and Siege. So, like, Blitz and Siege are sort of kind of like Blitz is supposed to be kind of a quick experience where you get in and I think what is it? Like, you survive like three waves? And then you go to extract. It's supposed to be kind of like a 15-minute experience where you get in, you get out, right? Where
Yeah, bite size for
yeah,
the
bite
ally.
size thing. Siege is a little bit longer. I think there's like 5 waves, and then you extract and stuff, and that's where we also found more like secondary objectives. Because this map, we only got access to one map, and I think there's 4 maps when they're launching. But it's a massive map, right? Definitely bigger than any horde stuff because it has to be, and it really does feel like a city under siege because you're where you're there with on 12 people. And even though you're not all like you have your own things you're working on, your own objectives, so you're in one part of this map defending the rig or doing something else, and then the other team's somewhere else doing their own thing, and the other team somewhere else doing their own thing, and sometimes your paths do cross. Sometimes like people back up. Like we had a team that was like we were doing our stuff, and then all of a sudden one of the teams came and they brought like a one of the like not the Brumac, but like a bigger bunch of like enemies, and it was all of a sudden like we had our own problems that were spawning, and then like the other team basically brought their own stuff to us, and it was like, oh my god, this is getting ridiculous. But it really does like, hey, this is truly a city under siege, like how big it is, and like all the enemies running around and all the people running around. And I think I didn't get to experience this in the games I played. There's like a boss invasion wave. So we did like boss wave. Like you'll sometimes get a boss wave on like wave 3 or wave 5. And let me tell you, those boss waves are. I mean, we played on the lowest difficulty because like you select a character type like assault or medic, and you earn XP as you play, and you level up and you get more perks, you get more things as you level up. So I'm like, oh, so it's one of those things where they probably, you're going to start off on rookie difficulty, but as you get to like level 10, level 15, you ump up the difficulty because like your character's better. And so like the game, I don't know, like I was over the whole like I'm just going to survive 50 waves because it's like whatever. But like you start off here, and one of the first things was like, oh, by the way, there's a secondary objective over here if you want to do that for a weapon part, which is kind of like an extraction a little bit because you get like you can extract weapon parts from the game if you which then you can use. So it's not like an extraction game. You're like, oh, I lost my Lancer and I can't use it, but there are specific things if you find them in the map you take with you back out. But that adds like a whole different dynamic. It was like, well, do we want to do this secondary objective? Do we want to go after this high value target? Do we want to collect these things to get these rewards, or like should we get back to the main mission and all these sort of things? It adds like a different level to it all. And then I think like one of them we had to like find parts to this like the rig that was broken. But man, when those boss waves hit, I remember how easy it was in the previous Gears when you'd have like a boomer come out, or you'd have one of the bigger guys, and like they take more bullets to take down than a regular enemy, but they still went down pretty quickly. These dudes got their own health bars, and let me tell you, like you could be hitting them with headshots, that health bar like goes down real slow. And as you're sitting there like defending your position, defending the rig because you have to stop it from getting destroyed, like they'll send you not just like one boomer, they'll send 5 or 6 of them, including like regular enemies. So you're all sitting there and like they just keep on coming, and like the health bar's not going down that much, and you're like it gets really hectic even on like the normal difficulty on Siege. I think we lost a couple waves because we just everybody was going down. It was just like you get up and you start attacking the enemies and you go down real quickly, but it was a blast actually doing it. And then when you're finally done with the wave, you kind of collect the points that the enemies leave behind, which then you can use to spend like for more ammo or spend for squad perks. Like there's different like 3 tiers of squad perks where you spend your points, and then like what is it, like you do more damage, and then like there's like a level 2 which does like you do more increase, but like the team kind of builds into that, and there's like different like effects that you can get when people spend their money. And then when you complete a wave, then it's just to extract, right? You have to go clear out an area where the helicopter's gonna land, and then there's like a final sort of like wave of enemies, and it's just like, damn, like this. I didn't know what to expect going in, because I was like, whatever, Horde mode, I don't care. I haven't cared about Horde mode in like 3 Gears games, like whatever. And I found myself sitting there being like, I could see myself playing this. This is
Dude, I
a
loved
lot of
it.
fun. Like, I'm not gonna really talk about the multiplayer because the multiplayer is still a Nasher fest. I played 2 games and then stopped playing it because I'm like, whatever. Maybe it's because the players on there, like, I think I played 3 hours and I got to level 3. I was facing somebody in multiplayer who was level 40. I don't know how much time they clearly had to be putting, like, it was wall bouncing like crazy and all that sort of stuff. So I was in over my head. Like, I'm not good at Gears multiplayer. So maybe it's a little bit different story if I'm actually matched with people of my skill, instead of like, we got all these Gears content creators and they're all amazing. And it was just, I hate the fact that everybody's just running around with the Nasher, because that's the only gun that's worth a damn in multiplayer. Because if you're using the Lancer and you come across someone with the Nasher, they're just going to destroy you. So it's like, it just forces everybody to do the Nasher and just play the same way, and it's just not fun, at least to me. But yeah, I was really impressed. I was really and like, what about the dynamic? Like, I know you're showing it off here in the thing, but the dynamic cover system where you get high up on the cover and it gets lower, so then you get lower, like the really small parts. I thought that was
yeah, it's cool, man.
Yeah, but
one thing I am sort of like, they've kind of been like, there's no battle passes, you earn all the skins in game and all that kind of thing, which I've seen some people celebrating, but part of me's like, does that mean there's not going to be any live service? Like, is it just going to be one and done? Because if it's good, I want more. You know, I don't want it to end. Kind of. It might seem like a weird thing to say, but if it has no monetization, does that mean they're not going to develop it post-launch?
I know they've said that they're going to have like more stuff added. I sort of feel like there's a shift in how people view live service games, where like they're over battle passes, and it's kind of like a call to that of being like, we don't got any fucking battle. It reminds me a lot of like when Cliffy B was sort of, and maybe this isn't the best comparison because of what happened to Lawbreakers, but do you remember when Cliffy B was like marketing Lawbreakers, and he was at like E3 and all the events, and he constantly would always say, you know, not full price, not the full price bullshit. We're $30 because like a lot of, you know, Overwatch was like full price and stuff. So he kept on hammering on, we're not full
Mhm.
price, no full price bullshit, all that sort of stuff. And like obviously Lawbreakers didn't work, but I sort of see this as more of a of like they understand that people are tired of battle passes. So they're going to be like, yeah, we're not doing it. We're not doing battle passes. So you can just, and I think I even mentioned like all the achievements earn you skins or earn you something within the game itself, the multiplayer, like, which is super cool. I don't know if many games has ever really done that. I mean, I remember games that would
I
give you
think
avatar rewards and stuff, but
that was one of the things I saw upvoted on the user feedback, Xbox user feedback thing, was like getting rewards for achievements. You know,
yeah.
because like you say, you used to get like avatar stuff for
Some
achievements.
games, yeah, but it'd be like a specific achievement. Like this thing, they're saying like every achievement gives you something in the game, like a skin for
I
a
think that's
gun,
fantastic.
and then like there's like legendary skins that you can only get by getting like the really hard achievements, like the serious and stuff. So that's pretty cool. Um,
I
we'll
wonder
s-
why more games don't do that. Because like, surely that would boost engagement if like you had an extra reason to actually do the achievements. I don't know.
I don't know. There must be
Maybe
a there
maybe it's a
must be
new API thing. I don't
maybe
know.
it's I don't know. Maybe it's just something that doesn't have a lot of data behind it, where they feel like the people playing multiplayer aren't going to play single player, even if there was like a skin attached to it. But maybe they would. I don't know, because like everything about multiplayer has been so geared to making money through skins. Why would you give away free skins for just getting achievements in any game when you can just use those skins to sell them and make money? Right? Because that's how these games make their money, in the battle passes and selling skins that you want.
Yeah,
So I know it's the multiplayer I'm not interested in. Like whatever, that'll come out. I'll
I'm
try it
so
out.
bad at that.
Whatever. I'm not good at it. But like before, it was I'm looking forward to the campaign, and that's about it. Now it's like hopefully my friend group who is playing marathon or whatever, we could all be like, let's get into this, because I think they would like it as well. Because I think there's just enough here where it's difficult, right? Like even on the normal difficulty, there's still some challenge. So I can only imagine what it would be like on the hard difficulties, where it's like not a pushover. There's like things to earn and get and level up and do all that sort of stuff. So I think I think they have something here, but it's always funny. I think before the show, I mentioned to you like the insider gaming like preview of the game, and it was kind of like I don't like Gears multiplayer or Gears whatever, and I'm just like, I wouldn't review a Madden game because I don't like sports games. And I understand like sometimes you're put in a position of like reviewing or previewing something you don't particularly like. Like I only like Gears for the
Yeah,
campaign. I don't care about this stuff. It's like, well, then maybe someone who actually does should be doing the preview and not you. Just like I don't like sports games, so why would I want to review, and why would anybody care about my review of Madden 27 if I come out and say like I don't like and I know some people say, well, maybe review for somebody who doesn't like the franchise or doesn't like these things is, informational, and be like, and maybe that's true, but like, really, if I said the same thing of like, I haven't played Madden in 5 years and I don't really like it, let me review this Madden. Oh, guess what? I gave it a 4 out of 10 because it sucks and I don't like the franchise. What really like what are you learning anything new from the person who hasn't played it? I don't know, but I mean the a lot of the previews did seem pretty positive, even
yeah,
from
I thought
outlets
so.
that are like usually kind
Hi,
of
Xbox.
very, uh, you know, but then it's like it's outlets, and it's like some of the authors are very negative towards it, not necessarily the outlets, because it's not like a big monolith thing. But hopefully it does well. Hopefully the campaign lands, and hopefully people really enjoy everything else. And you could, you know, the fact that this is exclusive is also, like Jez says, bringing the console war back to focus again. I was like, oh man,
Yeah, I love it.
the
I
more things
love people
change,
getting
the
mad at me for liking the game. It's fantastic.
oh, is that what happened? Is that what happened? People got mad at you for liking Gears, like
Yeah,
your
console
game, the game that
like the old
the
school.
game that
Yeah,
you always said was your favorite. Like you were a Gears guy, and you don't give a shit about Halo or any other stuff.
yeah.
They were laughing with you when you would call Gears, when you would call Halo a Lego game. But as soon as you like Gears and it's not coming to their platform, now you're just an Xbox shill. Is that what it is?
Yeah, it sure is. That's the case, bro. That's the case.
What do you
That's how
think
it
about
works.
what do you think about the music for the like Metallica and the main menu, Limp
Yeah,
Bizkit and
like I was
stuff?
like,
Like that's got to be expensive to get those
I was
licenses.
shocked.
Like I was shocked too. I was like, whoa. They used it for the trailers. Like I don't licensing Metallica stuff ain't cheap.
But I noticed like it wasn't the full song, it was just a riff from the song.
Still, it ain't
So
cheap.
I'm wondering like, is the sample cheaper? I'd imagine it is than the full song.
Yeah, I would
right?
imagine it is for the full song, but I would imagine also that there's probably time limits on these things because I saw people being like, "Oh, this game's going to be delisted in 3 years." It's like, well, no, they just removed the song from the thing. Like, if they can't get the rights
there
again,
was
like, what are we talking about here?
there was there were default generic songs too, like Gears style songs. So if the license expires, they'll just go back to the other music, right?
Yeah,
But it was cool to see, and it's kind of like, I don't know, Fortnite too almost, because that's what Fortnite does.
yeah,
It's got all the
Fortnite, like when
licensed
you have the
music in it.
skins or whatever, like if they're music, like an artist, like if you're if you get Sabrina Carpenter and you do her emote, like a little clip of her music will play, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so super impressed with the multiplayer preview of Horde for Gears. Looking forward to that. October 6th, October 1st for early access.
And also the multiplayer beta is August 6th,
Yes.
I want to say, if you pre-order.
Yep.
So there's that too. I don't know if you want to, before we move to the next topic, clear up super chats because there's quite a few piling up.
All right, let's
yeah, thanks for rocking with us, guys.
Yeah. If you're enjoying the show, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff. We got CJ that said, I heard a rumor that every time someone joins the free Xbox XB2 tier, Rand screams, somebody get these beggars out of here. Have a good one, gents. Actually, like, I'm not really, Jez has all the access, Jez has like all the credentials for the Patreon. I don't know nothing about it. For all I know, Jez is lying about how much the Patreon makes because
I'm just
I don't know any of
stealing
that.
all the money.
I don't have any of that, so you know, someone joins the free. So we've talked about that Odyssey thing, right? Like someone get the beggars
the
out
meme.
of here. It's so, I love it so much. I love it.
Oh, me and Andy are going to see that tomorrow.
Nice. You're not gonna go see Spider-Man?
Nah.
Spider-Man, apparently biggest movie of all time. Gonna break.
Never heard of it.
Gonna break Avengers Endgame records. You know, I will say.
Really?
Apparently, it made $70 million yesterday in previews, which is $10 million more than Avengers Endgame made. So there's a good chance potentially it breaks the opening weekend record that Avengers Endgame set, which would be pretty impressive.
How?
People love Spider-Man, bro. What can you say?
I
will say this, and this goes not necessarily to. Well, actually, no. This goes directly to Paris because it's your fault, Paris.
Oh no! Here we go.
I hate the algorithm. I hate the algorithm on Twitter. So I get on here, and I saw some Paris's tweet about Spider-Man. So I was like, okay, let me read Paris's tweet. So I click on it, right? And Paris loves Spider-Man movie, right? I'm not gonna watch it until it comes out on digital, right? And I'm like, okay, the reviews are really good.
Destroying physical discs, right?
I guess I am. The last time I actually went to a theater to watch a movie was Joker back in 2019. Last time I've been to the theater. Maybe that'll change with Dune 3. Maybe that'll change with Dune 3. But so I clicked on Paris's tweet and I'm reading his thoughts about Spider-Man and whatever. And then because I clicked on a Spider-Man tweet, X thinks that all I want to see are Spider-Man tweets. Right? So all of a sudden, my entire feed is just Spider-Man and all the spoilers and all the spoiler videos for Spider-Man, simply because I clicked on Paris's tweet. So then the algorithm's like, you clicked on this one thing? You must want all of the things about this. And I'm like, I fucking can't stand the algorithm on X where it's like you click, and YouTube can be similar, where you click on a video from somebody, like, oh, you clicked on this video? You must want all this guy's videos. And you get recommended all this trash. And it's like, no, I just wanted to watch this one. Doesn't mean I want to watch all 50 of these things. And you can screw up your like whole algorithm because of it, just because you clicked on one thing. So I blame you, Paris. I blame you. I shouldn't have clicked on your tweet, and I did. And because of it, all I got on Twitter was just Spider-Man stuff and all this spoiler stuff. So basically, like, and you know, I don't really care about spoilers for movies. I'm not saying I don't care about Spider-Man, but like whatever. But now I basically know the whole movie because like I clicked on it and all of a sudden I'm getting I'm getting camcorder footage of people in like India or wherever in China like filming the movie, and I'm like, it's already up on Twitter, and I'm right there, and I'm like, oh, thanks Paris, appreciate it, you ruined it for me. Like, unbelievable. Yeah. So where do you want to go from? Oh yeah, super chats. We got Mr. Joaquin says, Jez, fighting cowboy walkthroughs make every Souls game a Hello Kitty game difficulty. He made me love Mortal Shell 1. Using walkthroughs, dude? It's pretty lame. Why would you want to use a walkthrough?
I use fighting cowboys walkthroughs for some of the Elden Ring bits, to be honest.
Okay.
Which bits?
I mean, I'm not surprised.
Volcano Manor. I used it for Volcano Manor, I think.
I'm not surprised Joaquin needs his handheld while he plays the game, but I mean,
yeah, fighting cowboy is awesome. He's a cool dude. I really want to get him on the podcast one at a time. Yeah. Actually.
Bilal says, hey guys, very late here, can't catch the show live, but just wanted to come and say hi, show my support for a bit. Well, thank you. We appreciate that you can just drop by, and everybody can always watch this later. Baldy McNose here says, are you guys also going to talk about both Sony and Xbox financials as well? I mean, well, since you mentioned it, I mean, I had them listed, but Jez, give us a lowdown on Xbox's financials, can you?
They were not good.
Well,
they were not good.
I mean, their financials haven't been good for quite a couple years at this point. But
yeah,
I think I saw you
say straight declines. I think
I heard you say that it declined less than they thought. So not as bad as of a decline that they thought it would. Yeah. Which is like, okay,
it could have been worse.
The line went down, but it could have been worse because we expected it to go down even further, and it didn't.
Yes, it was projected to be worse than it was. So I suppose that's something. And I saw some commentators and some outlets try to pin the blame on Game Pass and stuff, but no, it's nothing to do with Game Pass. It was all to do with Call of Duty and Candy Crush and Minecraft potentially having a bit of an off year. Mostly Call of Duty though, from what I understand. It's weird, right? It's kind of like it's a weird universe we live in where one game or two games can negatively impact the whole brand, but that's kind of like the universe Xbox put itself in, right? This is kind of like it had its, I don't know what you call it. It made its bed, right? They made their bed, and you sort of you live by Call of Duty, you die by Call of Duty. So this is kind of the issue they've got right now. So they're expecting to return to growth next year, and I suppose that is heavily predicated on the idea that Call of Duty does well this year. But also, I suppose, like, the layoffs will also reduce the amount of expenditure they've got to do. But Wall Street really, really liked the financials overall. Microsoft gained $450 billion in market capitalization in a single day, which is a world record. So Microsoft shares jumped by 20% overall, and that's all because of AI and Azure. Basically, Microsoft's the only company on earth right now showing that you can make money with AI. Every other company's like losing money. So whether Microsoft's doing some like clever accounting tricks there or not, I don't know. Some of it was based on the valuation of their investment in Anthropic, I think. So that's pretend money, but the fundamentals of Azure and AI accelerated, which is why like everything grew. But it's kind of like a good or bad thing for Xbox because Xbox is such a blip on the balance sheet that they can kind of like they can get away with, you know, having some declines, but at the same time, like a lot of investors are probably sitting there like, the margins would have been even better if Windows and Xbox didn't exist, because Windows declined as well. Windows declined 4%, I think, if I remember correctly. So Windows declined 4% and Xbox declined 11%, I want to say, off the top of my head. Something around there. And yeah, so it wasn't fun, I suppose, but also not dire. Not as bad as like what Roblox has been reporting, for example. But certainly not out of the woods. And I think the language around what Ash is saying stuff like we'll return to growth this year, and Satya saying like it's got to be sustainable. All these kind of comments. A lot of people are worried like Xbox only has a year left. I keep getting those DMs. Is like, is Xbox only got a year left? Are they only going to give Asher a year to fix things and turn the ship around?
Well, I
A
mean,
bit
like
spooky, right?
Satya talked about returning to profitability next year. So did Arma.
Yeah.
Miss Sharma. So I mean, if they don't, then I would imagine that's pretty bad. If they're publicly coming out there saying we'll return to fiscal profitability, which shouldn't be hard considering Grand Theft Auto 6 is launching. So if you're not, then you probably got some real big problems if you can't turn to profitability in the fiscal year that Grand Theft Auto's out, you know? And hopefully Call of Duty returns to its form, so you'd have Call of Duty and Grand Theft Auto. Granted, like you have Fable launching early next year into the year, so maybe even the PS5 version of Forza Horizon 6. So it's like, yeah, you have the all, you definitely can, but then the question is, are you just going to decline the next fiscal year because you won't have Grand Theft Auto anymore? So we can have 1 year up and then 1 year down? I don't know.
This has long been the this has long been the situation with gaming companies. Like they have a good year when they're ship games, and they have a bad year when they don't ship games. It's kind of the nature of gaming, you know. And the problem is, it's like figuring out whether Amy Hood and the shareholders accept that. That's the fundamental cycle of any cultural business. You know, like if I'm a record label, for example, and none of my artists have shipped an album that year, of course I'm going to see declines. It's like, you know, but what am I going to do? Am I going to force the artist to ship music faster that ends up being shittier? You know, it's Microsoft decided it wanted to be a gaming company. So it just needs to accept, in my mind, that this is what happens if you're a gaming company. But we know that's not how it works, right? Shareholders demand infinite growth, even though it's impossible. And Xbox is kind of like navigating that universe. I just don't know like what kind of runway Ash has been given. You know, I do know that the C-suite is confident in Ash's plans, whatever they are. I'm trying to find out more about like what she's going to do, because for me, it can't be like they can't just rely on what they've been doing up to now. Something's got to change. There's got to be some innovation. There's got to be some kind of new factor, an X factor, if you will,
Ooh.
an X factor that'll find new growth, find new users, find those younger cohorts that have decided core gaming is for boomers, you know, and unk gaming like Rand, for example. Not me, because I'm still
gamer.
young. I'm still in my 30s, you know, I'm still young. And so it's not really me, but like they're worried about older gamers aging out and younger gamers not aging in. So I'm curious how Asher hopes to address that, really.
I mean, she did put out a memo that The Verge got a hold of, Mr. Warren, where she said console generates the majority of Xbox revenue and remains the foundation of her fandom, which is true. But then it's also one of the things when like, well, why did you guys move away from that? Like, because remember, it was like it came out that 80% of Xbox's like business was console, but it was like they tried everything they possibly could to push console down the pecking order. And I get like expansion, like we need to be on mobile and we need to be on PC, but it was always like, yeah, but like your business is here. And I get like if you thought it was a dead end, which I think clearly the previous administration thought it was. So like we need to invest in these other areas, but that also is like you don't know how it's going to go on mobile. You don't know how if Google and Apple are going to let you do whatever you want on their devices, and clearly they don't want you anywhere on their devices, really.
No, they don't. And even though like the courts have ruled that, at least in Europe, they've ruled that Apple and Google are gatekeeper platforms, so they have to let other platforms on there. But I haven't seen much movement on that front on Microsoft's end.
You know, and I think they just released like because I saw Asha tweet about this. They expanded Xbox streaming to more than 150 million TVs and devices around the world. through Vita OS and Heinz, so more people can play on hardware they already own. I would,
Hisense.
yeah,
Yeah.
play. I would love to see how many people actually stream through like smart TVs and stuff, because I think it was on the LGs, or maybe it was on Samsung's before. Uh, but also this kind of
Yeah, it's on
looks,
Samsung and LG now. Yeah.
yeah. So I would love to see how many people. I mean, I think that's probably more because like TVs are super cheap these days. Smart TVs, like I know
Yeah.
a lot of things are like expensive. Like gas is expensive, groceries are expensive. The groceries that don't make you sick, because it seems like every single week there's more things that you shouldn't buy or that are getting recalled because it's contaminated. But it definitely seemed
Yeah.
like one of the consumer products that has definitely decreased the most is like TVs. Like I think I just saw like a 77-inch TV that was on sale for like $400 or something, which is crazy.
$400.
Yeah, man, it wasn't really
That's
like
wild.
a great brand you would want, but even now,
Well,
like,
this is how you capture that audience, though. Is like you shouldn't be on the expensive Samsung and LGs. You need to be on like
sure,
what are they called? TLC. What is it
TCL,
called? That
TCL, I think is what it's
TCL,
called.
TCL. That brand. King David likes. King David likes
but
that
even
brand.
LGs and Samsungs are really cheap now. Like the TV I bought when I bought it was like 2,500. You can get for like $1,000. Like TV prices have come down a lot, and maybe some people will say conspiratorially because they're basically harvesting all your data because they're all smart TVs. So they basically like sell all your. So it's like in their best interest to basically sell these things for as cheap as possible to get access to
Yeah.
your network and yourself, so then they can sell all that information to third parties and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, so she said that about console revenue. She said that she wants to strengthen the Xbox platform led by console, which is always music to my ears. But then it kind of goes into our earlier discussion that we talked about today with Helix. So if we're going to really strengthen the platform and the console specifically, how are we doing that with a console that's also going to be potentially over $1,000 and maybe include a rival platform that might be bigger than your own that people might buy just to use that? So kind of like, how are we going to strengthen it? And like, are we going to do something with the current consoles to make them less expensive so they can ride out another 5-8 years? Like, we can't just leave. I don't know. There's a lot of things there that I'm very curious about what they do. She also basically says she's shifting the Xbox Studio system from a decentralized model to one that's more focused around our strongest franchises and biggest new ideas. Hence,
Well, I'll tell you one thing on that. Like that's the Sony model. Sony has a centralized like council of producers who kind of oversee the quality of every game. Whereas like Xbox has this sort of like decentralized model where everyone kind of, does their own thing, and we know that hasn't kind of worked out for them. So this could be, if you want that kind of consistent quality bar, could be a good thing.
yeah, but this is kind of like the Fallout push, right? Where you didn't have any Fallout games, and now you seems like you're probably gonna have a lot of Fallout games, right? Like we know Obsidian's making Fallout. We know eventually Bethesda's gonna make a Fallout 5, and I saw a rumor from Mr. Jez Cord himself that potentially in Exile's game after Clockwork Revolution will be Fallout related.
I mean, that was speculation on my
true
part.
speculation, but I sort of agree
I'll
with you because I think that's probably 100% what's going to happen. Because we don't know
Well,
how.
I'll say this. I know that InXL's already incubating the game after Clockwork Revolution, and if I was a betting man, and I'm not saying I know this, but I would bet that it's going to be Fallout related.
I would agree with you. I would agree with you because they're a perfect studio to make Fallout related content. And I guess you could maybe argue like, oh, that's kind of lame if you're being regulated to Fallout. But I mean, Xbox is telling you that they want to focus around their strongest franchises and biggest new ideas. And as good as Clockwork Revolution looks, and maybe it'll be a great reviewed game, I'm not necessarily sure they view that as a franchise. But Fallout's a franchise, and it's one of their biggest ones. So it would make sense where they're like, hey, let's have multiple Fallout games. There's a little bit of caution I kind of have to say, because the more games you do in a franchise, the bigger chance that some of those games may not be as good as people expect them to be, and then the popularity of franchise sort of kind of wanes a little bit. So that's the thing. It's like the Obsidian game has to be really good, right? It can't just be like, here's a mid Fallout game. And maybe Fallout's not the best example because Fallout did survive Fallout 76. So if if you can survive a 40 meta game, then maybe you're good. And granted, it was multiplayer and it wasn't like a single player.
Not only
stuff.
survive, but thrive, really.
Well, you can argue that the reason it's thriving is because of the TV show's popularity, which is like one of the biggest TV shows out there that has brought people to it. But so yeah, I sort of agree with you that I could see nXile working on a new Fallout game, and hopefully, I know Maddie plays. If he'd hear this, he'd be disgusted by what I'm about to say, and I'm sure Jez is going to be disgusted by what I'm about to say. But also, when you talk about like this stuff, I think that means Fallout can't be isometric. So you can't return to its roots of like Fallout stuff. So you're gonna have to like a regular Fallout game, you know, the one that blew up the franchise instead of a Wasteland 3-ish Fallout overhead like isometric game. Like it needs to be what people expect it to be. 100%. It's on record, Jez. This is what it has to be if you're doing it. I'm sorry.
No. You'll create fatigue, right? If Obsidian's working on a Fallout, that's normal, and Bethesda's working on Fallout 5, that's both on Creation Engine. You're gonna create fatigue. You've got to do something that's a bit different. Nah. You got to do something different.
There's gonna be
something different. You got to have Fallout 1 isometric remake. That's what you got to have. That's what you got to have, bro.
No. You know what? You're gonna have Fallout 1, a Fallout 1 remake, but in the style of Fallout 3 and Fallout 4. That's what you do.
Fuck no, bro.
Yes, bro.
No.
Yes, that's what
you've got to have a Fallout 1 remake in the style of Baldur's Gate 3. That's what you've got to do. Or Dragon Age Origins at the very least.
Well, by the way, apparently Dragon Age is dead. Surprise, surprise. I thought I saw an article about that, but that's
yes. Well, we knew that.
Well, we knew that, but no, I mean, like, bro, maybe I'm wrong here, and maybe
you are wrong.
Other thing, but I don't think. Like I'll say isometric games, they don't move the needle, and you'll mention, what about Baldur's Gate 3? And I'll mention, what about all the other isometric games that come out and don't do anything?
Dude, are you kidding me?
Are you kidding me?
Like the biggest Warhammer game ever.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
Was it bigger than Warhammer 2? Or Space Marine 2 or whatever? Warhammer?
Yeah, man.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah,
no, it wasn't.
It was. It was, bro.
I don't think
bro.
so.
I got leaked documents that confirm that, and also you've got.
You don't got any documents. You don't got documents to say shit.
You got Pathfinder. Like there's loads of isometric games that do well. Pathfinder.
Yes. There are, but not on the level of that Xbox wants to do it. I'm telling you, man. Don't be upset. Don't be upset if nXile comes out and their Fallout game is in the same vein of what blew up the franchise in the first. And I understand the big fans will be like, "Oh, it sucks, isometric," but
you got to be careful, right? You got to be careful because
sure, you absolutely do.
Look at what Disney did to Star Wars. Disney just went hard on like, okay, we've got to capitalize on Star Wars. Let's just ship as much Star Wars content as possible with no forethought or anything, and everyone's sick of Star Wars now.
Well, no, because it's not because they ship so much Star Wars content without thinking. It's because they didn't bother. I don't even know how to say this. Like Return of the Last Jedi sucked for a lot of people, and then Rise of the Skywalker didn't make any sense into what like the franchise was building to that moment, and it literally sucked. The product sucked. It wasn't that like it's like they didn't listen to their fans and they put out crappy films. And then, like, Mando was great as a TV show, but it sort of ran its course. And people just don't care about Star Wars like they used to because it's just a bad product at this point. Now, that's not to say that you couldn't change it, have somebody else in charge with a different vision and do something else with, But I feel like people got sick of everything being turned into Skywalker stuff and what have you, but... just put out great shit and people are gonna love it. And unfortunately, like, Last Jedi wasn't very good and Rise of the Skywalker sucked balls. Like legit balls. So balls. That's what happens, man. What are you gonna do when you put out bad product?
I don't know. I don't know, bro.
And I mean, even still, like, we're not even, like, when's the Obsidian game even releasing? The Fallout game? 3-4 years from now? Like, we already know, like, Fallout 5 from Bethesda. I mean, we don't even know when Elder Scrolls is releasing. They may not release in 2029, and then Fallout 5 might not even come until 2035. If you have a game, if you have a Fallout game in 2029, and then you could easily have one. I don't know. Let's see. NXL releases their game next year, 4 years, 2030. You got a Fallout game in 2029, a Fallout game in 2032, Fallout game in 2035. There you go. Boom. It writes itself, man.
Why you have to be so mean?
I'm not mean. I'm just saying I don't want you to be disappointed when, like, NXL's game is just like every other popular Fallout game and not a return to the isometric stuff. Why haven't we seen another isometric Gears game, by the way?
Well, that was not an RPG. That was not an RPG, bro. He's got to be an RPG, bro.
How come there isn't another, like, Halo Wars either? Are we getting moving away from that too?
That was not an RPG, bro. It was not an RPG, bro.
Okay. And Xbox will build long-term plans for its biggest franchises, which they should have been doing. It makes me wonder what's going on with Halo, because supposedly nothing's in development regarding any of the Halo games in the future now that Halo Combat Evolved shipped, or Campaign Evolved shipped.
Maybe they're shifting all the budget to the Fallout isometric game.
Yeah, in your dreams.
Well, I mean,
what do you think the future of Halo is? Like, Rebs Gaming's been doing a lot of reporting on it, and it's like, honestly, because there were reports that, like, there was Project Echo, which was the Battle Royale, which was turned into Extraction, that got canceled. And there was supposed to be a new campaign game, like that, but apparently that's not in production, so there's really nothing in production. And you would think after Campaign Evolved, maybe you would do Halo 2, but then it's like, you already done a remaster of Halo. See, that's the thing. Like, I think there's a lot of discussion about how well Halo Campaign Evolved did sales-wise, right? Which, you look at Steam, and it basically pulled the same number of users as Avowed and Outer Worlds 2, which Obsidian themselves said were financial failures. Now, granted, of course, we don't know the numbers on PlayStation. We don't know the numbers on Xbox as a Game Pass. But even, like, I think Circana said their player tracker that placed, the PlayStation version was 29th, captured like 1% of the total audience, and on Xbox it was 8th, and on PC and Steam it was like 14th. So I don't know if they're like the greatest numbers. But then again, I always said I don't know how much interest there is in another remake or remaster of Halo 1, a 25-year-old game. And if you do Halo 2 again, which is what you sort of tease in the legendary ending of Halo Campaign Evolved, I'm not sure how much interest there is in a remaster of that game, because you've already done it before. Maybe there'd be interest if you actually included, like, the multiplayer suite. People might be more interested because they want new multiplayer content for Halo. So I sort of wonder, like, what do we, like, they've talked, and when Matthew Ball came in, he talked about Halo, Asha's talked about Halo and all these sort of things, and I sort of wonder, are we in a ticking clock here for the leadership at Halo Studios? If, like, okay, Halo Campaign Evolves out, what's the next thing we're doing? And if there's nothing in development, I think that's a bad sign. And maybe you should get somebody in charge who has a plan. Am I wrong in thinking that, Jez?
I think you're absolutely not wrong in thinking that. I think probably the low-hanging fruit is to do another a Campaign Evolved kind of thing for Halo 2 and Halo 3 probably.
Like combined? I mean, maybe there'd be more interest if you combined Halo 2 and 3, because Halo 3 hasn't been touched. So, like, okay, maybe that works, but do you include the multiplayer for that? Because I would. I mean, if you want people to really care, I guess. I don't know. But even still, even if they're not working on that now, when can we expect that, with how long games take to make? I don't know what's going on with Halo. So they better figure it out.
No idea.
I mean, they're talking about long-term plans for the biggest franchises. They have one for Fallout. Do they have one for Diablo? Do they have one for Call of Duty? Like, what are their biggest franchises? Minecraft, Candy Crush, Call of Duty, Diablo,
Warcraft,
Overwatch, Warcraft, Halo, Gears, Forza. Like, I mean, even if you switch to Forza, like, which we can both agree is probably, the biggest Xbox Game Studios franchise, bigger than Halo at this point, not bigger than Minecraft, but let me ask you this: like the gap between Forza Horizon 5 and 6 was 5 years. Do you think that gap stays the same, or do you think that gap shrinks? Like, do we go back to 3 years? Like, are we like, hey, if we have long term, like, are we really gonna sit here and be like, well, Forza Horizon 7 is not coming until 2031? Or are they gonna be like, actually, we need more Forza Horizons, so like, let's get 7 coming in 2029? You know?
I'd imagine it's going to shrink, isn't it? Because I suppose, like, say what you will about artificial intelligence, it is supposed to make programming faster, isn't it? I mean, even if they're not using it for art, they're using it for like bugs, bug fixing, Q&A, code autocomplete. If that actually is functioning as they tell us it is functioning, i.e. speeds up development, and every programmer on earth is using it, like, that ship has well and truly sailed. And you'd think that Microsoft, being the AI company, like, that can speed up at least some aspects of development using those tools. I don't know if they will, but you'd think maybe they will. I'd imagine it's the players like speed it up. They're probably looking at the Call of Duty model for growth for some of their franchises, which is like, I mean, you've even seen your boy, what's his name, Rand?
Who?
The guy from EA guy. I can't remember his name.
Patrick.
He's about Patrick
Andrew Wilson,
Swayze?
I think.
Patrick Swayze?
No, Andrew Wilson.
Well, the EA CEO, who's, by the way, about to make a shitload of money.
You just didn't.
Yeah, Andrew Wilson.
Yes.
Andrew Wilson. Yeah, he's going to make a shitload of money because EA just sold to Saudi Arabia and it's been cleared all the regulators now, so that's a done deal. So, but he said, like, he wanted Battlefield to be an annualized franchise. You know, and I can't see a universe where Battlefield becomes annualized. But like, you could imagine that Microsoft, with its tooling, with its improving its, you know, engines and ramping up and doing fewer side projects. Maybe we could see some of these franchises become like 2 or 3 years franchises, and maybe even 1 year franchises. I don't know. Is there a universe, Rand, where you have a Fallout game every 2 years for the new season of a TV show? Is there a universe where that happens?
No.
But like, even still, even if that were to happen, they would need years to build up to that. Does Asher have years? Or does Asher have years? Is Satya going to give her years to see through some of this stuff? I honestly don't know. It's that's why I think, like, when we talk about Xbox, some of the things that are more interesting to me is well and truly like the strategic stuff, rather than, like, I ain't worried about the games. Like, we got more games to play than ever. I'm thinking about, like, how are they actually gonna grow the platform? And that's right now, that's more interesting to me.
Also, in their the 10K listing for Xbox, they even talk about exclusives again. So,
yeah.
I don't have that like thing offhand right here, but they did mention it again, so it definitely seems like we will be getting more exclusives in the future. I know that angers a lot of people, including a lot of journalists, which is it's great to see, love it when they get angry about.
You don't like journalists?
No. I mean, there are some I like. I just like how people just wear their emotions on their sleeve when they talk about this shit. You know what I mean? Like, where they're mask off, and it's like, I love PlayStation exclusives and I love Nintendo exclusives. Xbox, you can't have any. No,
they can't have any.
And it's like, okay,
no, that's wrong.
But it makes me laugh, man. It makes me laugh, and I love it. It
is weird, bro. It is weird, bro.
And I understand. I don't know.
Could it be the Xbox tax, bro?
I mean, you know, it's not the Xbox
is
tax.
The Xbox? What?
The Xbox network failure.
Oh,
yeah. I mean, PlayStation went through it a couple days beforehand, where, like, you know, because everybody's focused on the digital future, because PlayStation decided, we're gonna take you there, because guess what? Anybody that loves discs, fuck you. We don't care about any of you guys. So there's been this heightened scrutiny on the digital ownership and digital platform and all those sort of things. And even on the Xbox side too, even though everybody expected Xbox to be the one to do this, there's that stuff. And by the way, Jez, where's Positron?
Positron? What's that?
Yeah,
Never heard of
according
it.
to Jez Corden, Positron was supposed to come out 2 weeks ago. Where's Positron? What's Positron?
I've never heard what. I don't know what you're talking about.
God, you better hope that they don't scrap Positron like they scrapped the the Xbox Game Pass Family Plan, where they tested it and it was like, actually this doesn't work. EA doesn't want it. Positron doesn't work either. EA doesn't want it. We're not doing it anymore. Sorry.
Well, it is coming. I've heard that they're still working out some of the details around it, but I think we'll probably, it's going to be announced sooner rather than later.
Right.
But
yeah.
I thought but you are right that there is this a heightened amount of interest in the way digital rights are being handled now.
Yes.
And what's her face? I can't remember her name. The Sony CFO who seems to be running the company now.
Mm-hmm.
Where have we seen that happen before? But she said, we're not seeing any material damage from the backlash to the disc stuff, so we're going to push ahead with it. So there is a big question mark over what Xbox is going to do. I did see John Linehan from Digital Foundry apparently said, I don't know if this might have been taken out of context because that often happens with podcasting, but apparently he said that Xbox was going to keep discs before Ash's reset. I absolutely did not hear that. I heard the opposite, that Xbox has been, like Sony, thinking about the end of physical discs for some time. And it is pretty much like, it's because of the economics around the assembly lines for this stuff. It's not necessarily like they don't want to do it. It's more like it's got to a point where it doesn't make even the slightest bit of financial sense to keep these factories going, especially in a universe where these factories can make components for data centers instead, which is where all the money wants to live right now, apparently. So, of course, they could do it. And one of the criticisms I was seeing of Sony is that like Sony Music still makes CDs and vinyls and cassettes now. You can buy a lot of Sony musicians offer cassettes, albums on cassette. So there is no reason why they can't do it. It's just all about like, it's all about
revenue.
Yeah, it's less about the CDs themselves and more about the disc drives. Because you can make a vinyl record player in your garage. It's just a needle, really, and a turntable. But you can't necessarily make a Blu-ray drive. And there's like, because of like the storage speed and that kind of stuff, it's become like one of them where it's like, it's actually a performance hit to run a game from a disc, because they're not as fast as streaming data as an SSD, so on and so forth, which is why you have to install them in the first place. But I don't know. But in regards to Xbox, Positron is at least a step in the right kind of direction, I suppose. It's probably not. People would prefer to have discs in perpetuity.
Sure.
But it just doesn't seem like that's going to happen.
Well, we'll see.
I think I think like, I wonder if would people be willing to accept this idea that like of kind of what Nintendo does, where for games that can't run off a micro SD, it's just a license on the thing, just a license, because at least then you'd be able to resell it. So could Microsoft do something where it's like, okay, well, we're still going to have discs, but they're literally just going to be DVDs, not even Blu-rays, and they're just going to have a license on it, so you can resell it. But yeah, it's not going to be like the old way of doing things. Would people accept that, Rand?
I don't know. But you mentioned their financial call, and this is what they had to say, PlayStation. They said, we announced that from January 2020 and onwards, we will no longer be manufacturing game discs. So we announced it 1.5 years ahead. And I think in another thing they said they're talking to retailers and stuff about, that's one of the reasons why they did it. There are various reasons we made this decision, the biggest being that digitalization of contents overall has been progressing. That's the big factor. It's just not for PlayStation, but for all kinds of content, digitalization is progressing, which that paragraph doesn't mean literally anything. It's just a bunch of word slop.
Word slop.
It's just corporate speak, essentially. So when we think about the future, we put in a lot of thought and time, and we cautiously considered this, and we came to this conclusion, and we're going to cautiously move this forward, which I mean,
Cautiously.
basically tells you all you really need to know about how they view the you know, the boycott and all those sort of things. And I think, like you mentioned before, she even mentioned that they've seen no impact by it whatsoever. And I know like
Yeah.
there's a PS blackout supposed to happen next month.
I'm joining that, by the way.
I mean, I've been on PS blackout since Saros, bro. So I mean,
We're doing our part,
get on
bro.
my
We're
level,
doing our
bro.
part.
Get on my level. I'm doing my part too. I haven't turned on my PlayStation in months.
Well, I haven't turned on my PlayStation since Final Fantasy VII Remake. When did that come out?
2020. 2020.
Yeah, so I've been rocking the PlayStation blackout for 6 years,
Yeah.
bro.
Well, you know what?
Get on my level.
Once like that, they let the 6 days
man.
go by and they didn't tweet a retraction. I sort of knew it was over. Like, because either was they were gonna walk it back right away, or they were just going to basically tweet through it and not.
Yeah.
And they didn't. They haven't. And I should also mention, when PlayStation had their whole downtime, they didn't even acknowledge it. When Xbox had theirs, they were all over, like, giving updates and stuff. And then even the next day, like, the CTO came out with this long, huge thing about why it happened and what they were doing when it happened and what the steps they have to,
by the way.
which is a great transparency. Like, they basically said, like, there was this, like, one, like, thing that was failing that, like, that a lot of the Microsoft internal companies use or whatever. But, like, one company was out there being, like, letting their fans go through it and not saying shit, because that's what Sony does. They don't talk to nobody. They don't care. Like, they're just quiet and they just do their business. And Xbox is very much more player focused. And they were out there being like, this is what's going on, and, you know, this is the reasons for this stuff. So it's a definitely different sort of case study in how one company handled the same situation compared to the other company. Granted, like, I think Xbox has, you know, like, both companies, they're in kind of like, Xbox doesn't have, I feel like Xbox needs to be more friend-friendly in the position they are, where, like, PlayStation, you know, some people say we returned to arrogant PlayStation of, like, the, you know, the PS3 era where they didn't care and it's like, you know, whatever. And that's
I see people blame Xbox for that as well, by the way.
Of course. Well, you know,
it's Xbox's fault that
Yes,
PlayStation's
it's
arrogant because they're
Xbox's
not
fault.
giving them enough competition.
Yeah. You know, that's like, yeah. So which is great to see that, you know, it shouldn't happen, but it's great to see, like, hey, the transparency, thank you. Now, let me know how you're going to mitigate this so this never happens again, because, like you mentioned here, like, there's a scrutiny on the digital future. And if you're getting rid of, you know, physical games, are we going to get any more digital rights? You know, and we know about Xbox Positron, which transforms your game disc into a digital copy, which is very similar to what they were doing in 2013. We'll see how, you know, all the ins and outs whenever that does come to be announced. But, you know, you would like to see a more stable or better refund policy. Like Steam has theirs, where it's like, hey, 2 hours, you can refund it. But there's kind of, like, PlayStation really doesn't have one, where I think PlayStation's, if you download the game, you can't even get a refund. And Xbox is like, I'm not really even sure what theirs are. So, like,
it's similar to Steam, where it's like, if you've used the game for more than 2 hours, you can't get a refund, or it's like a week timeout.
So, I mean, I would love to see, like, more digital ownership stuff, like family plans, like you know, like Steam has, or, you know, any like. And I get it. Maybe you can't announce that now because you're not actually revealing anything about the PS6, and you would reveal those things with the PS6, and that's not going to happen until next year or the year after. So, like, you sort of just being like, hey, we're removing this stuff. But some of these people, like, they're not going to accept that, and really they shouldn't. Like, if you're really somebody who loves discs, you shouldn't just go quietly into the night, right? You should make your voice heard. You should, you know, vote with your wallet. And the PS blackout thing is a good way to show that. I would, like, when I saw the date, I was like, come on, like, last week of August, like, you're really not going to do this during the week where Sony actually has a game release? Like, why not do this the week of Wolverine? At least, like, you could potentially impact them significantly, not significantly, but material, like, I think there's more so like Sony's first party games releasing. This is when we're going to do the blackout because there's a better chance of directly impacting Sony's bottom line because of one of their games rather than like, oh, we chose the last week of August because Gamescom's that week and the call like it's like you had the perfect opportunity right there and I don't know why you chose it, but whatever. Like it's cool that they're doing something, and it sort of seems it doesn't even. Looking at what Sony's response here, like I don't. They're probably going to be like, you know, we didn't see anything.
Yeah, it's Jover,
because
bro.
like you're essentially being like, you're just going to get outweighed by the other people like the Fortnite players and the Call of Duty players and the ball and gun gamers, essentially as they call them. And your voice will
Is
get drowned
there
out. You're like, you're not saying that you shouldn't use your voice. Absolutely, bitch and moan on Twitter all you want, saying I'm not going to get the PS6. But you got to put your money where your mouth is. You can't just complain on Twitter. But then when Wolverine comes out, you just buy the game, or when Grand Theft Auto comes out, you just buy the game. Like you need to like stick to your guns. And
Yeah.
how many people are going to stick to their guns? I don't know. I think Sony's betting that most people won't. I think Sony's betting that a lot of those same people are still going to buy the PS6 regardless. You know, they might lose some, but that's what they're betting on. And yeah, we'll see what happens.
I just wonder if there's some wiggle room for Xbox to capitalize on this, because it's very rare that Sony's in a position of, I don't want to say weakness, but do you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
It's very rare. So, but yeah, Rand. Some people are asking if we miss their super chats. BT Maverick and Talsa.
I had them on pause. I still have it up here. We're kind of getting into more tangents, but we definitely are getting back here. We have because we answered this, guys. Are you guys gonna Baldies? He said, are you guys gonna talk about Sony and Xbox financials? Sony's financials were out. I think they shipped 1.3 million consoles. They're up to like 95.3. Their profits are increased by 37%, partially because of the tariff refunds. So are people going to demand Sony refund them? Probably not.
I hate that, by the way. Like, we paid the tariffs. Well, I say we. Well, actually, yeah, I paid the tariffs too, because they put their prices up everywhere, not just in America.
I know. Well.
And then they get the refund as well? Huh?
Yeah.
It's almost as if this was the plan all along.
I don't know about that. What else we got here? We have Akusan says, man, if Helix is open as a Steam machine, I'm installing Linux on it faster than Lite. I'll get better performance than and less 365 ads. That's true. Yeah. Mr. BT Maverick says, PC handhelds are niche within a niche. And most of the consumers buying these already have established Steam libraries where the Xbox audience buying Helix will have different purchasing patterns. Yeah, presumably. But that's also, the data's the data. And, like, you can always, you can have data say whatever you want. And Jez was like, hey, this is an interesting data point about a device that has the Xbox PC store and a device that has Steam. And let's see how people, the use case scenario use it. And, that's what we're reporting on. Now, I don't know. Maybe the plan is still, actually, we're still gonna have Steam on here and all these sort of things. I don't know. Jez doesn't know yet. I mean, it almost seemed like a sure bet when Phil was still there, but maybe Asha has a different view of it. So, I mean, we'll eventually find out. Let's see. We have Senior Bean, who says, what's up, guys? Love the show. Did you guys see AI Slop Stellar Blade music video? What are they thinking? Shaping my head. So I saw an article about this. So they promoted their newest game or something with an AI music video? What's going on?
Yeah, Shift Up. They released it was just an AI music with an AI video of the new character Eevee, is it? I think.
Mm-hmm.
The one everyone was that was controversial in of itself.
Yes, that was.
But
true.
Just the design of the character. But now it's an AI character as well. It does feel a bit like they're trying to piss people off. It looked pretty shit. AI always has this sort of weird plasticky finish on it, which just looks bad, I think. But it's interesting watching studios experiment with this stuff and then getting absolutely cooked for it. But I suppose.
I guess the question is,
Just
will anybody care about this when the new game launches? Will it have any meaningful impact on the sales of
no,
the
I
new
don't
game?
think so.
You know,
I
will
don't
it?
think
I don't
so.
know. I don't know if it will. I don't think it will either. By the way, for those that don't know, well, one of my favorite games of last year is finally out on Xbox. Dispatch.
Dispatch. Oh
Yes,
yeah, I want to play that.
finally
I
came
do want
out.
to play that.
Great game, especially if you love the Telltale Life is Strange sort of style experience, where you manage a superhero team. I thought it was great, and it's out now on Xbox. How many months later? See, June
Yeah,
8 months later, finally out on Xbox. So if you want to play it,
small dev.
now's your chance. Just wanted to put that out there. Um, Scarcely Relevant says live service can also have success by keeping people engaged with the platform. State of Decay, Grounded, etc., and Gears has a long tail. That's absolutely true.
That is
Nitram
true.
says there's been a lot of successful remakes like Silent Hill, Resident Evil, Final Fantasy, etc. Why isn't Xbox remaking Fallout 1 and Fallout 2? Jez. Why? Because they're isometric and nobody will care. That's why. And I'm telling the truth, and everybody that
You're
loves those
wrong.
games, that's 100% why. Isometric, like, I'll point out,
You're
nobody really cares about
wrong.
isometric games anymore, and everybody would look, Baldur's Gate 3. That's fine. Baldur's Gate 3 is the exception, not the rule. There's always exceptions to the rule. But isometric games, you know,
You're wrong.
I'm.
You're
Well,
wrong.
then why isn't there a Fallout 1 or Fallout 2 remake then?
Because there isn't even a Fallout 5, bro.
Sure, sure.
We you know exactly why. Because they take 50,000 years to make a game.
I understand that. But I mean, he brings up a good point. You have all these remakes that have done exceedingly well, like Resident Evil and Resident Evil's.
Well, the thing is, it wouldn't. Remaking that is going to be like complicated.
Oh, it'll be complicated. Okay.
It's going to be like Final Fantasy VII remake, because I don't know if you know how big Fallout 1 is. It's a very, very big game.
Mm-hmm.
It's very, very big. So remaking that with modern visuals is not going to be a trivial thing to do. So part of me's wondering, like, do they even remake it or just not make a completely new tactics isometric kind of game?
Remake it in the vein of Fallout 3. There you go. Boom. That's the way to go.
Remake it in the vein of Wasteland 3. Boom. There you go.
But it's a good thing.
There you go.
I mean, people love remakes, especially of older games. I mean, Silent Hill 2 did really well. I mean, Final Fantasy's done 3 of them. Everybody loves the Resident Evil remakes. People love the Dead Space remake, even though that didn't lead to more Dead Spaces. I mean, Halo Combat Evolved got exactly the Metacritic score I thought it was going to get. But, yeah, why haven't they done Fallout? I mean, they haven't even done a remaster of Fallout. Well, I guess, did they remaster Fallout 4, though? They kind of did, didn't they? A little bit?
Not really.
Fallout 3.
Not really.
They'll do Fallout 3. Hopefully that comes out next year.
I pretty much confirmed they're doing that one.
Yeah. Edwin Cloud says, do you guys think there's a possibility that the Black Ops ports will be ported over to Xbox, or should I take the L at this point?
I am trying to
not knowing anything,
find out more about that.
I think it's you're gonna take the L. I don't think that they're gonna come out on Xbox.
I think they will. And that's pure speculation, but I think they will.
Okay.
But I'm trying to find out like hard information about that. I'm also trying to like get them to talk about the fact that Black Ops 1 and 2 are basically viruses on Steam. There's like remote code execution exploits on Steam, which is not good for a game Microsoft's selling, I think. Yeah. Especially when Microsoft's supposedly the cybersecurity company as well. So that's something I'm trying to look into. And I know there's some very, very passionate people.
Yeah, I mean, we got another super chat here from Tossetti Runner who says, they are fixing PlayStation COD, Black Ops 1 and 2 while Xbox PC broken. Yeah. That's true.
I'm on it. Bear with me. I'm only one dude, man. I don't have a team anymore.
One straight 15th and 2 says, I think Xbox will partner more more with China for franchises. Definitely a possibility, for sure. Dooku says Halo needs a roadmap like we got with Bethesda. I'd agree, 100%. People love the.
I might
Although
write that article.
if Xbox, see, here's the thing. When they did the roadmap for Bethesda, a lot of journalists were like, keys jingling, distractions. Like they were just like, oh my god, they're just trying to make people forget what happened the other week. And it's like, okay, but like, what's the acceptable period of mourning where you shouldn't announce anything that people actually want to know about? Is it a month? Is it 5 months? Or if like say Xbox announces a Halo roadmap 5 months from now, or people still gonna be like, oh, guess what? It's keys jingling still. They're trying to forget what happened a year ago. It's like, but yeah, they should. I would love if all their studios, not necessarily all their studios, but like maybe they do it by franchises. Like, hey, this is what we got planned for Fallout. This is what we got planned for Forza. This is what we got planned for Halo. Like, it could really help because right now there's a lot of uncertainty regarding Halo, especially when you listen to insiders like Rebs Gaming and stuff that talk about, what's going on, and you're like, is there anything going on? Like, what's the leadership doing? Like, if the leadership's not doing anything, why is the leadership still involved? Asha needs to get rid of these people if they're not, doing it. You can't let Halo languish. And if you're letting Halo languish, like, what's Matt Booty doing? He's supposed to be in charge of this shit. Like, what's going on? So I'd definitely be, and I guess maybe part of that is, well, what happened if we do a roadmap and then we got to cancel the game like we've been doing, right? Where what if they did a roadmap and it's like, actually, we have a Halo Battle Royale coming. Actually, scratch that. We have a Halo extraction shooter coming. Actually, scratch that. Actually, it's all just canceled. Are they worried about that? Of like the ability to actually see a project through from, development, from concept stage to development stage and all the way out the door? Maybe that's the issue. And they don't have that problem with Bethesda because they know, okay, this is what we're doing, and we're not going to be canceling a Fallout-related game or what have you, or any of these other Bethesda stuff, but we're not sure what we're doing with Halo because we've canceled a bunch of projects, so we can't give people a roadmap because everything's up in the air. And if that's the case, then that's a pretty shitty place to be in.
I really think they just need to... They need to, like, have Halo be the support studio, maybe. And have like id lead development or something.
It doesn't have anybody left at the studio. What are you talking about?
Of course they do. They're as big as they were when.
That doesn't. Yeah. What? Where they're making? Where Tom said they're making a Doom game. What are they also now making a Halo game?
I mean, okay, maybe not id, but someone else. Come on. I mean, Halo. How long has 343 and now Halo Studios had?
Longer than
for this.
Longer than Bethesda, or longer than Bungie at Halo, by the way.
Yeah, it's kind of wild, isn't it?
I mean,
a long time.
Indeed it is. Indeed it is.
I don't know what you do at this point. But this is the dilemma that Ash has kind of got in a lap, I suppose.
Yeah. Oh, I see the John Linneman thing you're talking about. John Linneman from Digital Foundry said he heard from his sources that Microsoft was very much going to continue disk support before the Xbox reset. In the latest DNF Q&A episode, John Linneman mentioned that he heard Xbox was going to continue supporting physical media, not because they value disc retail sales, but because they want their customers' games to still be playable on future hardware. He mentioned that Xbox thought about an external drive solution. I mean, we've talked about external drive solution a lot. He also speculated that he sees a future where Microsoft supports physical games going forward.
I mean, I think they'll support it insofar as, Xbox Series X stocks exist, but just don't think there's going to be a company who makes drives. I think that's the crux of it. I don't think that company will exist. The company that builds disk drives, I don't think it'll exist. But I could be wrong. There's a huge and very clear way that Xbox could capitalize on all this drama and just come out and be like, yep, we're going to support discs forever, and we've built a factory to do it.
Yeah,
and in fact, the factory is called 343 discs. 343.
Well, if they were ever going to do that and surprise PlayStation, they shouldn't mention anything until everything's kind of situated. So PlayStation can't just be like, actually, we're supporting this too. you know, and it was all for naught. And then we'll really see how many people would switch if that was the case, because people said they would. Somehow I doubt it.
They won't.
Somehow I doubt
They
it.
won't switch. Yeah, I doubt
Chicken
it.
Stick says thoughts on the Xbox ROG Ally X's and future outlook. That's all you, Jez.
Thoughts on the Xbox ROG Ally X?
And future outlook, yeah.
It is interesting that the price of it hasn't gone up somehow. That's really interesting. I mean, there's a few other data points in the documents I've got. One of them is it's got a very high satisfaction rate, as in people don't return them. There's not many faults with them. People are very happy with them, and there is like the people who do use them a lot, like myself, and I can totally see that. If you are gonna drop $1,000 on a device, it's probably because you are exactly its target market, right? So I think there's kind of like a lot of excitement around the potential for the segment, but at the same time, it's kind of one of them where it's like it's never going to be a big segment. It's always going to be like a sort of profitable niche, I guess. But I'm pretty bullish on it. I think they'll keep doing it. I don't know if there'll be a ROG Xbox Ally 2 or if it'll just be the ROG Ally 3. Well, I don't know if that partnership will keep going, because I presume like the Xbox license probably hurts the margins a bit for Asus, maybe. So I don't see how else Xbox is profiting from that. Like, for example, I heard Xbox waived the Windows license fee for it. So, to support it, usually OEMs have to pay for the Windows license, and that's how Microsoft makes money. And like we mentioned earlier, the Windows business is down 4% year over year because nobody can afford a PC anymore. So I don't know. But yeah, I think it'll do well, especially when the memory prices come down. Maybe we can get cheaper versions.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty bullish on it, man.
Pretty bullish on it.
I'm bullish.
Yeah, the other thing I sort of wanted to talk about, I think you wrote an article about this, was Fable versus God of War Laufey, which Laufey, and I guess like normally this wouldn't be like versus, but this is part of the situation when you're releasing games on multiple platforms and being multi-platform, because Fable which was supposed to come out this year, got delayed to next year to Fable 23rd to February 23rd, which good release date, plenty of time away from Grand Theft Auto, right? Even though there are other games releasing in that time frame, like there's the new Tomb Raider remake of the first game, which I'm looking forward to, but that's earlier in the month. I think there's another game also releasing that month, but I can't remember off the top of my head. And then like PlayStation revealed God of War Laufey, and there's some controversy, as Jez would say, surrounding the game, considering Kratos isn't in it, right? And people being like, I don't know if I want this. I'm gonna.
Oh, and it's purple. It's got purple lighting.
It's got the purple lighting, so we all know it means it's gay. They did San Diego Comic-Con where Cory Balrog said that like the game's important to the mythos, like this whatever happens in this game is going to lead directly into the next Kratos-led God of War game, so it's like kind of being like, hey, make sure you guys play this game, please. I don't know, if pre-orders aren't good for it or whatever, but then they also announced the release date, and it's February 16th. And the reason that's kind of important is because Fable's early access is a day later, or 2 days later on the 18th, a week before Fable itself releases. So, we've seen data from Matt Piscatella at Circana that, a lot of people buy 1 or 2 games a year, and the amount of percentage of people that buy like 2 games a month is extremely, extremely low. And normally, if Fable was exclusive, you wouldn't have to worry about it because, well, God of War's not on your platform. You're releasing your own game. Your fans will get it. Plus, you're on PC. So it's like, you would think that would be enough. But Fable, I think, as you reported, I don't know if you used this exact terminology, is uncomfortably over budget, because I saw other people kind of.
I did use that comfortably.
Okay, uncomfortably.
That was my word,
yeah. And I saw a bunch of other outlets report on that. So, okay, yeah. So they're probably, anticipating and looking forward to the full game sales of it on PlayStation.
Mm.
And I sort of wonder if releasing God of War, like if God of War releasing so close to Fable is like kind of a thing where they look at it and they're like, maybe we should push the game or maybe we should pull it forward because like if you're trying to sell the game to the PlayStation audience and the choice is between $70 God of War or $100 early access Fable that's 2 days later, I think we know what most people are probably going to pick, especially that audience. And then like even
Do you
if you
think
say,
since it was delayed? Sorry, go on.
well, it's like well, you don't compare the early access to the full release. It's like, well, even if you just do a week to week, $70 and $70, it's a lot of money for people. Like, and there's a Tomb Raider game as well, and I want to say there's another game like the week after Fable, but I just can't can't picture it in my head right now. And I sort of wonder if it's like, yeah,
Metro.
Oh, I think Metro is supposed to be February, but
which has Xbox marketing.
which does. So is Fable in a tough position on PlayStation? And if you were advising them, would you tell them to hold pat, hold the line? Like, this is the date we chose and we got to go with it? Or would you be like, hey, if you can, move it to the beginning of February, and if you can't, move it to March, because you do want to give people an opportunity to buy the game and they just may not have any money or time, because I would imagine God of War Laufey is probably 25 hours, just like all the other God of War games. So they may not have time or the money when it does release on the... What do you think? What'd you kind of argue in your article?
I don't really argue anything. I just like... My argument is that
your argument
should never
like,
have been on
this
PlayStation
should never
in general.
this should never have happened, essentially. Like, Fable should never have been on PlayStation, is what you...
No, it shouldn't have been. And it's because, like, I mean, I would just... I'm not a... I wouldn't be a great businessman here, because obviously it's far better business to relaunch it on PlayStation in the short term. Long term, I would have been like, this is a franchise you could build up as something to sell your platform with, and you should take that investment. But we know that Microsoft isn't, in the investment mood right now for Xbox in general, I think. So, yeah, it is what it is. I think it would have been better long term for that game to have never come to PlayStation, because all you've done now is advertise the fact to external users that they get a PlayStation, they miss out less. So Xbox users are kind of missing out here. Whereas, like, if you made Fable exclusive, then they wouldn't be missing out, because everyone would be equally served with regards to exclusive AAA content. But anyways, I just think, like, I personally think they should... I mean, if it was delayed because of Grand Theft Auto and not because it needs more time, why not bring it forward to January? January is usually dead for gaming. People have got money from Christmas, maybe, from relatives. I would bring it forward if possible, if at all possible. I would bring it forward rather than push it back. And then, like, you can use Metro as the game you market for February. What do you think?
What'd you say? What would you say?
Bring it forward. Bring it forward to January.
Huh. Yeah, somehow I don't think that's going to happen.
Well, if they delayed it for GTA and not because it was broken,
I mean,
bring it forward. I don't know.
I also think God of War was clearly meant to release in November, and they just shifted it to February because they're not going to release it against, GTA, right? That's the read I get from it. And maybe the same's true for Fable. Maybe Fable was targeting a October, November launch, and then GTA took that spot, and they're like, okay, we can give Gears of War a little bit more time, and then we'll move Fable to the early part of the year. So maybe it's possible, but I sort of feel like you would rather... I don't know. I feel like they had a good release date already, and now I sort of feel like... Normally I would say just stick to your guns. That's your date. But, like, considering the information you presented of uncomfortably over budget, because now I'm worried. Like, and if they're really looking for sales of the game, that's where you're going to get it on PlayStation and PC. And the last thing I want is to be like, well, the game didn't sell well on PlayStation because people chose God of War over it, and because of that, we need to lay off people at Playground. Where, like, okay, you take the PR hit because you delay the game again, but I think people would know why you would delay the game. So it's like, hey, we're delaying the game to like March 16th or something. Move out of that month, own March to yourself, and launch it. I mean, they did say they want, one of the reasons why they delayed Fable was they wanted to give it the window that it deserved, right? And like God of War is right in that window. Like, where do you think a lot of the media attention is going to be on? Is it going to be on Fable, or is it going to be on the new God of War game? So I don't know. Like, if I was Matt Booty and I'm like, uh, and when we have all this money invested in the franchise and Playground, I'm trying to give it a wide open window as possible. Like, I don't want any competition. Like, I don't want like anything stopping Fable from being like the talk of the town. And it's like I'm delaying that game. I'm delaying it a couple weeks so I could have the whole thing. I don't want there to be any sort of like post-mortem discussion about, oh, Fable didn't do as well, and it was like, well, you look at the sales here on PlayStation, it didn't do good, and it's like, well, they shouldn't have launched it against God of War, I guess. That would be my stance, because I do think Fable is going to be good. I just don't know if Fable's going to be great. And maybe if Fable's great, maybe that doesn't matter. Maybe if like Fable's like a 90+ meta and everybody's like, oh my god, this is a can't miss, need to play this, and then it doesn't really matter. But games are getting, it's $100 early access, and a lot of the PlayStation audience is going to buy that God of War game. They're like, I don't have $100 to spend. I just spent it on this. So, I mean, maybe that's not what Xbox fans wants to hear. Like, oh, well, it's the PlayStation version. Fuck them. Blah, 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 blah. But I'm looking for, like, I want Fable to be a massive franchise. I want them to make as much money as possible and sell as many copies as possible, because I want Playground to retain all their talent so we can get a Forza Horizon faster, so we can get a Fable 2 eventually, instead of being like, actually, Fable stumbled, and because of that we need layoffs, and actually that we're not doing any more Fables, and we got to cut down the studio size, and blah 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 blah.
Well, this is like, I suppose this is kind of like the contention, isn't it? It's like, do you want Fable to be a massive franchise? If you want Fable to be a massive franchise, then you kind of got to be on PlayStation, and it's got to be on PlayStation, and not only that, but you've also.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think it needs to be on PlayStation.
I think it does.
I don't think so.
If you want to like do like a TV show and a movie, maybe, and I don't know if you've seen the Dungeons and Dragons movie. Have you seen the Dungeons and Dragons movie?
I have. Yes, it was a really fun movie. Hopefully they make a sequel.
I was thinking, like, could they do a Fable movie in that vein? Sort of
they probably could.
Darkly comedic, genuinely funny kind of fantasy movie. Like, what's it called? Honor Amongst Thieves, I think it's called. I don't even like Dungeons and Dragons, and I've never played it. You need like a friend group to play that game.
And you don't have friends.
Which, by the way, and I don't have friends. And they just announced D&D World of Warcraft, by the way. I don't know if you saw that. There's a World of Warcraft version of Dungeons and Dragons coming out.
This is why you bring it up, because you wanted to bring up World of Warcraft and how you don't have friends to play
No.
this
I
with.
just
Yes.
Yeah, I just thought about it, but either way, I don't have friends to play it. You need like at least 4 friends, I think, and that's just. I don't know anyone over 30 who's got 4 friends, so congrats if you do. But yeah, the movie was very good. So I was thinking, like, could you really maximize Fable by making it like a franchise with a? Because that kind of feels like what the plan is. They want to do for their other franchises what Fallout's done for Fallout and what the Minecraft movie did for Minecraft. Like, Minecraft had a massive bump the year the movie came out, and obviously, I would argue the game didn't really capitalize on that. I would argue that point. I don't know if anyone else would agree with me on that, but I don't think I think Minecraft's kind of been resting on its laurels for a long time, and the fact that Roblox has risen up and eaten a lot of its lunch, I think, is really indicative of that. But I don't know. Maybe you're right, Rand. Maybe PC and Xbox is enough, but clearly
it should be.
I don't think. Clearly, Microsoft doesn't seem to agree, man.
I mean, we'll see about that. But I mean, look at Pal World. Where's all of its users at? PC. Nobody's
Mm.
not going to say Pal World's not a massive franchise, are they?
I mean, yeah, that's true.
I mean, so you can absolutely be a massive franchise on Xbox and on PC. You don't need PlayStation to be
How
massive,
old is on PlayStation now? I think
huh? It is, but I think Analytica
it wasn't at
Analytics
launch.
Analytica said the player base like it was the player
It's an
base on
Xbox player
PlayStation
base.
the PlayStation is like 30 it was like 60 it was like 67 it was like 60% on PC, 30% on Xbox because of like Game Pass, and 1% on PlayStation.
That's really interesting.
Whatever the number was, it was like really low. But it's like, so like my counter would be, you don't need PlayStation to have massive franchises, you know?
Hmm.
I mean,
Well, fair enough.
so
Well, it's especially not going to work if you're launching up against God of War and nobody cares.
well, that's the thing. So, you know,
Well, this is and first and 15th two in chat with the $2 super chat says, just delay the PlayStation version then.
yeah,
I
but I
mean,
think you've already committed. I think you've already committed to launching that day and date, and they've already talked about that, and they're not going to change that
retailer
course. So
contracts.
I mean, like, it's yeah. I mean, I'd agree with you. Just we also mentioned like the idea of like, well, canceling the Halo and the Play Fable port, but I think those were already announced, so they couldn't. And I don't really see them delaying the PS5 Fable version. Although that would make the most sense, being like, well, let's launch Fable on PC and Xbox, and then launch it on PlayStation 2 months later or something. Maybe you
3
can make
months, 4
a
months,
PR thing
10
where it's,
months.
hey, the PlayStation version's not ready. We're delaying it.
Yeah,
Whatever amount of time. But I don't think they will. I think they want like that coordinated launch. Personally, it's just
I think you're right, but they could. That would be bullish if they did that.
I don't know. I mean, if it's really like ready, move it ahead of God of War. Move it to the beginning of February. But then I sort of wonder what happens if GTA Online. What if they're like, oh, by the way, we're launching our game in February, GTA Online. Everyone's like, oh shit, all the games got to move because nobody's gonna care. I don't know.
Well, there's so much content. You're always going to end up shipping against something. Jesse Norris from Xbox Era in the chat said,
Mr. Norris, Mr. Jesse.
yeah, he said, Stranger Than Heaven's launching in January, so
Yes.
that's coming out on Game Pass. So you'd be going up against that if you followed my idea. So I don't know. You basically can't win. I don't know. Maybe just gaming's cooked. Maybe they should just shut down, give up,
Yeah, just cancel everything.
just cancel everything, and we'll just all become Nintendo gamers.
I mean, that Stranger. I'm actually gonna probably that'll be. I've tried Yakuza 0, didn't really like it. And I always thought like maybe I could get into Yakuza. Maybe I'll try Yakuza Like a Dragon. And I know this isn't Yakuza, but people, I'm probably gonna play Stranger Than Heaven. It looks really cool, and maybe playing that.
Yeah, it
will
does look
be
cool.
Like, oh well, maybe I should try Yakuza out as a franchise. Oh,
Yeah, it's kind of like because it's Stranger Than Heaven's like a bit. It's like almost like a different pile of lore. I feel like I don't need to learn all of the lore of Yakuza and play like hundreds and hundreds of hours of games to get the most out of it. Kind of like starting fresh in a way. So yeah, I'm interested in that, but yeah, I don't know. We got any more super charts before we do Patreon?
let's see. We
Cues?
have Just Bring It says make Fable not day one in Game Pass and keep Xbox PC. Well, I think they already announced it for Game Pass. I don't think they're pulling it from that. Delay PlayStation version, then no cell phone. Yeah. And we have Rave Damos says, could an Xbox place a one-time order for 100,000 external disk drives for Helix, sell them for $150, then offer physical games support for those that want it while supplies last? Best of both worlds. I mean, like
Maybe
an external sort of thing.
they go down like I don't know, the halfway route. Capitalize on the drama. I don't know. They could do that.
You see this? The Paramount wants the antitrust trial for the Warner Brothers merger to be scheduled for November, while the coalition of states and the WGA are asking for April 2027. Paramount will have to pay Warner Brothers shareholders $7 million a day from September 30th until the deal is complete. Yikes.
Sorry, say that again.
It says Paramount wants the antitrust trial for the Warner Brothers merger to be scheduled for November, while the coalition of states and the WGA are asking for April of 2027. Paramount will have to pay Warner Brothers shareholders $7 million a day from September 30th until the deal is complete. So that's why
Holy shit.
that's why they want it in November, so it doesn't go that long, so they don't have to pay that much. But like the states and the guild are being like they wanted to start in April. So $7 million.
So what if it doesn't go through? They're just gonna lose all that fucking money.
If it doesn't go through, I believe I read that Paramount people have to pay Warner Brothers $9 billion, something like that. If it doesn't go through.
Oh my god, that is a beefy risk, isn't it?
I mean, I know what was the Activision one? If Activision stuff didn't go through, I think Microsoft owed Activision like $3 billion, right? I think that was the number.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, $9 billion, I think, is this one. So it's a lot of change, a lot of money.
It's not. Yeah, it's not cheap.
Not cheap at all.
Not cheap.
What?
How do you feel about that Paramount thing? Just quickly.
I mean, I'd prefer nobody.
Some people
I'd prefer nobody to buy Warner Brothers, and if there was an option on the table, Paramount was my least. They're the one I wanted to buy them the least. Like I was fine with Netflix buying them. I was fine with like NBC Universal, Comcast buying them. I was like the one I want them not to happen is Paramount, and well. So I would be perfectly fine if they blocked this. That'd be great.
Yeah.
That would be absolutely great. But I don't think they will.
I wouldn't have minded on Netflix because I would have got all that stuff on Netflix then.
Yeah, then they just would have raised the price to Netflix probably to $30 a month, but they could be like, look at all the Warner Brothers content we have, So.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's better than paying for 2 separate subscriptions.
Does anybody actually pay for Paramount Plus?
No.
I don't think so.
I don't know if it's even available in Britain. But isn't the Halo show on that?
It was. I mean, the Halo show's on Netflix right now.
There you go.
It's
funny. You
like,
get Halo.
It's Netflix doesn't put their shows anywhere else, but a lot of other companies put their shows on Netflix. Like HBO Max will put their shows on Netflix. AMC puts their shows on Netflix. Paramount has put some of their shows on Netflix. Like the only ones that don't are like Disney Plus, and Netflix don't put their shows anywhere else. But I mean, I guess like the bigger, like Game of Thrones, HBO doesn't put that on Netflix, but they have put like smaller shows or older shows on there, right?
Game of Thrones used to be on Netflix, I feel like.
No,
unless I'm
Game of
going
Thrones
mad.
was always HBO.
No, but I mean, maybe just in the UK then.
No,
because we don't have HBO.
Well, then Game of
How
Thrones.
How the fuck do people watch it?
I don't know. I mean, Game of Thrones is never on Netflix. Never on Netflix International either. I'm pretty sure. It's HBO, bro. HBO. But anyways, let's get to some Patreon questions, shall we? And then get out of here.
Sounds good.
So if you enjoyed the show, hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you want to always be notified whenever we go live, usually on Fridays. Check out our sponsor, Surfshark, 86% off 2-year deal. Codes in the links in the chat. Patreon, or what is it? Surfshark.com/XB2. And if you want to support us directly, patreon.com/XB2, where it's at. I'm going to be reading some Q&A here from the lovely Patreon members. We got Trickster for Trey, who says, what's your thoughts if instead of a new Call of Duty next year, it was a compilation of all the zombie modes? Absolutely hate that idea. Blech. I'd buy that. And with what happened to Xbox servers, that's why I have a PC. Xbox is doing a really good job these past couple years pushing me to PC. Yeah, I mean, with the heightened scrutiny on digital stuff, having both PlayStation and Xbox go down for extended period of times, and especially where like this didn't work or there was problems with certifying, your games or whatever. Luckily, that was the day where I lost power. And usually I don't even really play until later in the day anyways, but yeah, it shouldn't happen, and they explained all that stuff. But nobody. I'm not saying nobody would buy zombies mode, but I feel like the loss of revenue would be catastrophic if they offered like, here's just zombies and no multiplayer, no campaign. The drop in revenue would be so bad. I don't know if you could even quantify it.
Mhm.
You know, I think zombies works as a third part, like a third leg of a tripod where you have campaign, multiplayer, zombies. I don't necessarily think it works as standalone, especially if like you think substituting it for a full release means you're gonna get the same amount of money as whatever, like a full release of a Call of Duty game.
I do think like there is an opportunity for like Call of Duty to evolve in a platform kind of way, where it's like, I mean, they've kind of done this to some degree already, where it's like you log into the Call of Duty app and then there's just loads of different game modes, kind of like what Fortnite does. So like, is there not a universe where they just release all of the Call of Duty through a single interface rather than just having to like jump around different stuff? And then like, I don't know, you pay like, you get it all with Game Pass Ultimate, or you can add it to your plan or something. I don't know. It does seem like people just want everything in one place increasingly these days. So, but I don't know. But don't underestimate Call of Duty Zombies fans, bro.
I will. Nitram says, "Hey, Rand Jez, if there is demand for Xbox Series X units from PC players who want to play GTA 6 in November, do you think Xbox have some sufficient stock to sell a large number of units?" I don't know.
I don't know.
And I don't necessarily know if PC people are going to look at it and be like, I'm going to spend $800 on a Series X. Because you could get a PS5 for cheaper. Or hell, if you wanted a better version, well, you might as well just spend the 900 something for the PS5 Pro at that point. And so it's like, I guess you could say like, well, what if PlayStations are sold out? Well, I mean, they probably will have stock, but I just don't know how much stock they'll have. Silas says, "Hey chaps, much like Rand, I love chaos in the gaming industry. Let's say that Rockstar is flowing BDE, Big Dick Energy, after the GTA 6 release. Feeling that they can do anything, they released GTA Online Vice City the same week as Laufey and Fable. What would you do if you were Herman and Booty? The audience may be slightly different with the three games, but the gaming media will be all over GTA Online and suck most of the coverage away from Fable and God of War." I mean, I already said it. I'd move them. In fact, I think all the games would move in February.
Yeah, you got to move them, I think.
You move them.
You got to move them. You got to move them.
Yep. Along Grogu says, "Ahoy, fellas. Just giving you a heads up that Forbes released the top paid podcasters in 2026. For some reason, Xbox 2 isn't on there with your YouTube millions. Jez, perhaps journalist to journalist, you can inform them of their mix-up." I wanted to talk about
maybe.
I wanted to talk about my experience building my own SteamOS computer. I used some old spare parts I had to put together an all AMD setup with what I consider a weak Radeon 6600. Now, Forza Horizon 6 is a very polished game, I know, but I was able to get some great quality visuals above 60 FPS. I kept saying to my friends when I showed them, it has no business looking this good. It made me think about Helix and next gen. Helix is meant to be positioned as a high-end device. But seeing these results, I really think there's still room for Microsoft partners to deliver cheaper but still great experiences at lower end with people's budgets. Has there been any news under the new regime if partners delivering cheaper Xbox variants is still on the table? That's a question for you, Jez.
Is it about like
OEMs or partners making cheaper future Xbox Helix hardware, essentially?
It's really tough because the memory stuff affects everyone, right? But I do think, and also one of the advantages of console is that you kind of know, you're supposed to know what the hardware is, so developers don't have to make multiple different versions. And we saw all these like complaints about the Series S not having the same amount of RAM, right? But I think those complaints are probably, I don't know, not as loud as they were previously because of the crisis. And we've seen the return of 8 GB MacBooks and Windows devices. And also you've got thousands of games built for 8 GB of RAM on the Xbox Series S. So for me, I think like having an OEM play is probably absolutely important, especially less so because of the price, I think, and more so because you can globalize your marketing layer. I think one of the issues Xbox has is that it doesn't know how to market to users outside of America, and arguably it doesn't do a great job of that either. So, if I'm trying to make a device for, say, I don't know, the Korean market or the Taiwanese market or the Chinese market, wouldn't it be better to go to an OEM who's got experience marketing in that region and just be like, you know what, you can make the Xbox for Taiwan, for example, Asus or someone like that, and then Microsoft controls the platform, at least the default platform that loads up. Um, but yeah, the the thing for me that muddies the waters a bit is that the person who was in charge of the OEM push, Rowan Sones, she's retired now, and part of me wonders if like her retiring was more like because this is no longer going to be the plan now, and that they want control of the hardware stack again. But it could go either way. Xbox is having this big reset, and that means a lot of the old decisions are probably not they're either in flux or maybe completely gone now. Just kind of need to do some more research and find out what ends up being the final decision, I guess. And we'll find out probably before next June, I would imagine.
All right. We have, let's see, good old Collinwood. Hello, Rand Jez. If you had to buy a new TV, would you buy it for its gaming virtues or for its TV streaming capabilities or for its Blu-ray qualities?
Gaming. Always gaming for me. I don't
Gaming.
use my TV for much
Yeah,
else.
I'd probably get like a new LG like C5 or C6, which has great gaming stuff, but also great like TV smart app stuff. Or if I wasn't really like, well, the TV streaming stuff, because I don't actually watch like my TV's not hooked up to like an actual TV feed. So like all I have to access TV wise is just like the smart apps like Netflix and HBO and stuff. Like I don't watch any TV channels because I don't have any of that stuff.
Yeah.
So, but it'd be if I really came push game sub where like, oh, the gaming stuff's great, but the streaming stuff isn't that good, then I'd probably just get like one of those Apple boxes that the streaming that's supposed to be pretty good. I just get one of those. But the smart TV stuff is good.
I literally only use my TV for gaming. So like, as long as like it's watchable, I don't really care what the picture quality is like.
Hmm.
I was actually thinking about this with regards to Obsession recently
Were
because
you?
it's got this low budget style, right? And part of me's like, the thing's sometimes not more somehow cinematic when it's got this sort of level of authenticity, maybe. I don't know. Sometimes you want to see things in IMAX with all the bells and whistles, but I don't really need that at home.
No, I was just browsing Twitter while we're doing the show here, and I see a tweet that literally has the entire movie of the new Spider-Man movie in it, just like how Odyssey leaked
Yeah,
online. Like, what is with
I
these
saw that.
movies
Yeah.
getting the full movie on Twitter, and like it's not even like a really bad version either. Like this is like sure this isn't the way I would want to watch the movie my first time, but like this is a pretty good quality version of the movie. Like
This is like a thing now where someone uploads the whole movie to Twitter.
yeah,
I think it's because like Twitter's like n- not sharing information with authorities sometimes.
I mean
And
this
yeah,
thing has
Twitter will delete it, but you won't really get in trouble for it.
this thing has 600 retweets, 7.4 thousand likes. Like it's
Is Twitter
definitely
the Wild West now?
I don't know. It's definitely a version. from overseas because it has subtitles on. So it's definitely
Mm.
like, wherever, not here, but it's like this is actually a pretty decent version they have up on here, and it's like I don't
That's
know,
funny as
and it's
hell.
been up for 3 hours. I don't know how this hasn't already been taken down, but
That's
whatever.
funny.
It's crazy,
It is
crazy.
funny.
Let's see here. We have Chris M. So, hey guys, hope you're having a great Friday. With the news that the movie The Odyssey led to a spike in players doubling for Assassin's Creed Odyssey, I thought that was crazy. Like, daily player count. Is this just more reinforcement that companies need to do more tie properties together? Xbox already whiffed on Fallout. Do you expect a stronger commitment to other properties going forward to ensure better
Wait, what?
synergy? What?
Odyssey?
Oh yeah,
Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Assassin's Creed's Odyssey's player count like went up 100% or whatever it was because of the movie The Odyssey. Yes. You didn't see that
That
reported?
is no, I didn't. That's weird. No,
I mean,
isn't it?
maybe
Kinda.
do people think that it has something to do with the Odyssey? I don't know, but I did
It
see the
clearly
reports.
does.
So, but
Greek mythology and stuff.
is he he's saying that, is this more proof that companies need to do more tie, like, and I think it is. I think it's pretty been proven that a successful movie boosts the viewership of boosts the sales of games. I mean, we've seen it with Devil May Cry, we've seen it with Fallout, we've seen it with Last of Us, we've seen it now with apparently the Assassin's Creed Odyssey. We saw it with Minecraft when the Minecraft movie came out. Like, the only one that didn't really seem to do anything was Halo. Poor Halo. Like, nobody seemed to care. Mainly because I think the Halo TV show was trash, so nobody cared. But you put out a good movie or TV show, yeah, it's gonna boost the game. Maybe that's we're wondering where you get people like the young crowd, Jess. Maybe that's where you get the young crowd. You get them with the TV shows and the movies, and they can clip it for TikTok and stuff, and maybe they try out your game.
You've got to trend. You've got to trend. Like just the word Odyssey trending probably
Mm-hmm.
helped
Oh, probably.
Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Yeah. Logan Meyer says, "Hey guys, hope all is well. Any updates on Project Positron reveal? Been eagerly awaiting this." Yes, I was giving Jez shit, so he says hopefully soon.
Yeah, I think it's. I don't think it's far off.
I wonder, now that we're in August, what if they just kind of hold on to that for the 25th anniversary stream if they're doing one at this point now, as a reveal?
Yeah,
Right?
maybe.
I mean, if we're doing one in November, 3 months away. Like, hey, I don't know. Is that something you think about? Where it's like,
yeah, maybe.
Goggles Lens says, "Hey guys, I of course need to talk about the Double Fine again. 23 layoffs, of course, sucks, but it does show that they are taking the current economic situation seriously. This is, of course, not a good thing, but if it means the survival of the studio, then it probably had to be done. What do you guys think? Also, Jez, any slight info on Double Fine's next game, or just nothing you can talk about? Jez, even when Double Fine was with Xbox, you still didn't have much info on them. Is that they are more tight knit, so not many leaks, or what?"
Yeah, basically. I mean, they're tight knit. They're kind of limited integration. It's a lot of my leaks don't come from the studios. They come from, I don't know, when information filters through Microsoft headquarters, really. Because there's so many different departments that things just leak. I told a story once about how someone at Microsoft accidentally CC'd me in on a calendar invite one time, which ended up in accidentally leaking me a bunch of stuff. I did tell them, like, you guys accidentally leaked this to me, because it's not fair. But yeah, I don't really have good Double Fine or any Double Fine sources, frankly. But like the one thing I did hear from things filtering down was that their next game was slated to be more ambitious, and that in the old system, Keeper and Kiln were more like they were made to like different parts of the team to practice and learn new skills. So like apparently like Keeper, for example, the art team made that whole game. So the art team, they weren't needed for what the incubation that was going on for the next game. So they like focused on making Keeper, you know? So yeah, I mean, yeah, I think the next game should be more ambitious. I mean, it probably has to be more ambitious now they're solo, independent, but we'll see what happens, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I sort of feel like you knew this was going to happen. They go independent, they're going to have layoffs. I also, unlike Compulsion, I don't really see Double Fine coming out there and being like, "Hey, we'll make your dreams happen. We're open for business." Where Compulsion pretty much like right away was like,
Yeah.
"We need work." Where I don't know if that signifies that Double Fine has a game like their games, being funded by somebody and they just kind of needed to lay some people off to make the financials work where like nobody's funding Compulsion's game, so they're kind of like, hey, we need port work, you need any work, we'll do it for you, I don't know if that's the case, but
Well, that's how a lot of these studios like function is they do port work. Like Iron Galaxy, for example, they did the port for Black Ops 1 and 2 to PS5.
sure. I guess the point I
Um,
was trying to make is like it would be a shame for Compulsion to survive only for Compulsion just to do work on the side and they don't actually make their own game anymore. Kind of like Iron
yeah.
Galaxy. Like Iron Galaxy, they took a swing with that live service like wrestling game and it didn't do
Oh yeah.
anything, and now Iron Galaxy is just a port studio. They just do stuff and it's like, yeah, that's the way to survive, but they're not making their own stuff anymore. Is that like
They'll
what the
come back
future?
to it.
I don't think they will. I don't think they will.
I think they will. I think they will, bro.
Oh, maybe, but I'm just saying, is that Compulsion's future, where they're just like, well, we need work in the meantime to make money, so our game we can kind of work on the side. But is that the future? I don't know.
No.
Pat
Well, one
Rock.
of the issues they've got is there's just fewer human beings to sell games to now. So like if the play is to support other studios' games in in a universe where there's fewer opportunities for new games to cut through, like I mean, at the end of the day, people need to pay their bills first and foremost.
We have Pat Rock who says, "Why is it Xbox on PC but not Xbox on Cloud? It's just Xbox Cloud. It's not Xbox and Series
Oh,
S. It's Xbox
dude,
Series
don't get me
S.
started.
I feel like they need
I
to drop the
hate it.
Xbox on PC and just call it Xbox PC. I'm with you on
They
that.
do.
I don't know why they.
I I yeah, I don't. I refuse to call it Xbox on PC. When
Mm-hmm.
I'm writing about it, I call it Xbox PC because Xbox on PC is dumb. It is
Yes.
dumb.
Yes, I agree.
So yeah, completely with you on that one.
C. Woody says, "Howdy, Cop Hooks. Hope your week is going well. There's been a ton of talk about expanding the Fallout franchise across the entire company, but Elder Scrolls. Why do you think this is? Do you think they'll explore giving Elder Scrolls the same treatment after 6? Thanks for the show." Yeah, why Fallout not Elder Scrolls, Jez? Is it because they're currently working on Elder Scrolls, so they don't want any other kind of game to take its shine away? Or because, like, hey, we Obsidian, like, they already made a Fallout game, so they're a perfect one to make a Fallout game and not an Elder? Like, is it simply because they don't, like, they don't have a studio there that it would be proficient enough in making an Elder Scrolls game? Like, what do you think? Because Elder Scrolls is pretty massive, so.
I I gotta be honest. I have no idea. I
Mm,
mean, I suppose like they've already got the Fallout TV show, which is like the tip of the spear really for this new transmedia initiative. Does Elder Scrolls translate to TV as easily as Fallout does, especially given sentiments
I
right
would,
now?
but the thing is, I sort of feel like if you ask people this 5, 10 years ago, people would say Fallout doesn't transition well to TV. But
Hmm.
looking at it now, I think you could make a pretty good Elder Scrolls TV show. Remember, like we
Hmm.
even talked about Diablo show, and I think you could make a pretty damn awesome Diablo TV show. You know, in fact, I think it would be pretty damn cool, like all the lore of Diablo and how like dark it gets and stuff. Like, you,
Yeah.
I think you could make an Elder Scrolls TV show. I mean, you can make a TV show about anything, really.
No, I think you definitely could, but could you make a good one? And I think that's kind of like the Fallout TV show has set the bar can you really like make everything's got to be as good as the Fallout TV show? And if you can't deliver that, if you don't have the right showrunner, like Todd Howard told me this in the interview, it was like the Fallout TV show was a 10-year journey to like find the right team, the right situation, the right budget, the right partners, and because as we see with the Halo TV show, not doing it properly can have a really negative impact. Shout out to Tom Warren in the chat. Congrats on your
Mr.
scoop,
Warren.
my dude.
Mr. Warren always out here putting out great info for us to talk about. What else here? We have I'm for an Elder Scrolls television show. I think it could work. I mean, hell, they made a great Dungeons and Dragons movie. Why couldn't they make a great Elder Scrolls movie or TV show, you know?
Yeah.
Gustav says, "Hey chaps, there's been a lot of focus on first-party exclusives recently, and it is clear that Xbox is going to be doubling down on its biggest IPs. In recent years, however, almost all the best content has been coming out of independent studios. With that in mind, where do you think second and third-party deals for exclusive games and money handing fits into the new strategy? Third-party is, I think, a huge opportunity. Expedition 33 had a Game Pass deal. Can you imagine if it had been exclusive?" Yeah, I mean, they talked about the idea of getting third-party exclusives. I know Asha talked about that. Will it happen? I mean, if money talks, the question is how much money.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure they'll explore that. I still remember when Phil bought exclusivity for Tomb Raider and how pissed off the gaming media was at that. Remember? And then they never really tried it again.
I think it has to be part of it, especially like in a universe where you kind of want to grow your third party again. But it's really there's a lot of unknown quantities with what Ash is planning to do with their strategy. Like even a memo internally, a lot of it was just, you know, corpo speak. So how do you quantify that into I don't know, action? And you know, Ash has said herself, proof of a promise, right? So we'll see what happens, I suppose, over the next year. I think Ash's strategy will really, really come into view next showcase. But will July just not be another huge wave of layoffs?
Yeah.
It feels like an annual sell. It feels like Microsoft's annual, just sort of like, oh, it's July, let's lay everyone off.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like an annual thing now.
And then have all these like record profits or whatever. How much money did they make this quarter? This past quarter? Or whatever it was?
I don't know about the quarter, but I think the year they made 40 billion or something. Something like that.
Still had to lay people off
A lot
everywhere.
a lot of money. A lot of cash money.
Yeah. Shay Elephant says, "Happy Friday, Rand Jez. Do you think Valve was disingenuous in saying they can't subsidize the Steam machine because technically they are an open platform? Let's be real here. No one buys a Steam machine to use Epic Games. They most likely have a huge library with Steam already and will keep buying games from Steam. If anyone can have a hardware with an open platform, it's Steam. Do you think they're just super greedy here? Thank you." Did they say that?
They did say that, yeah. So I think they did. They said they did. They said this is where my inspiration for the article
I'm not
came
saying
from.
like I don't believe you, but also like they're pretty disingenuous if that's what they said. I think because I agree. I agree with Shay Elephant. Nobody's buying the Steam machine and then playing Epic Games on that thing. So
I think they know that in the short term, but I think if you have made an open device, you leave yourself exposed to the potentiality that an incumbent could mess you up.
Sure,
I think, right? And I think like even if like we're not talking about we're not necessarily talking about stores here. One of the things that people often overlook is that Steam is not a PC gaming monopoly. I think they have something like 40% of the PC market, 40%. And I know like everyone's going, what, 40%? Nah, surely it's more like 90%. No, it isn't. You've got to look at things like the HoloVerse launcher, Battle.net, and a lot of these like service games, like even stuff like, I don't know, World of Tanks launcher. A lot of these games have like hundreds of millions of players or tens of millions of players, and the games aren't on Steam. Like if I'm not mistaken, I don't think Minecraft itself is on Steam, is
No,
it?
I don't think it is. I'm pretty sure it's not.
Roblox, I'm pretty sure Roblox isn't on Steam, right? So if you're a Valve and it's like, okay, well, there might be people buy a Steam machine and then maybe they just install Roblox on it. I agree completely that people aren't going to buy other games for other platforms. But this is one of the issues that Xbox and PlayStation are seeing right now, is that people just play Fortnite and don't spend a penny. So maybe there's a scenario where they want to hedge against this scenario where people buy a Steam machine for cheap because it's open and they subsidize it, and then that user only uses it to play Roblox and never spends a penny through the Steam ecosystem. So I don't think it's disingenuous personally.
Mm.
I think like they're just thinking about like what are the trends in gaming right now? And right now the trends in gaming are, especially on the younger end, these games as a platform, right? In my opinion.
Okay, I mean, fair enough. You're entitled to that opinion. I wonder how the Steam machine is actually doing. Like, how many it's sold. You know,
It sold 50 billion units.
Oh man, can you imagine? Bala says, "Hey guys, how you doing? I don't know why, but I'm feeling pretty positive about Asha Sharma's vision for Xbox. From day one, she seemed hungry to succeed, and now a few months in, it feels like she has the balls to make tough decisions. I also like that she isn't doing interviews with every IGN, Polygon, or Kind of Funny. She's stick to outlets like Bloomberg and Fortune. The only caveat for me is Amy Hood. I just hope somehow, some way, she gets the fuck out of there." I've always felt comments like, "Hear you," and telling Jez the plan is the plan until it's not, weren't accidental. When you're the CEO of Xbox and everyone's watching, you don't say things like that by mistake. That's why I've always believed games like Elder Scrolls 6 and Fallout will be exclusive. I don't care what anybody says. And honestly, I can't wait for the crash out, the articles, the videos, the outrage. Just like you, Rand, I generally want to see all those people who call themselves gaming journalists completely lose it. This is a guy after my own heart.
Dear.
One very unpopular opinion I have is that I wouldn't be surprised if they eventually pulled some games off Steam as well. Not now, maybe around the Helix launch or a couple years later, once the Xbox PC store is in a much better place. I know it sounds ridiculous, but I generally wouldn't be surprised if that happened. What do you guys think? Well, I mean, it definitely would signify like a shift, for sure, if they pulled from Steam.
I've got some interesting information about this.
Oh, here we go.
That I'm not sure I'm ready to share just yet.
Can Mr. Warren corroborate whatever you're about to say? Or you said you can't share it?
I don't know.
Then
maybe.
Don't share it, I guess.
I don't think I can share it just yet. But
tell me when the show's over, and so I can know. Thank you.
Well, there's like,
because I don't leave.
Ah, man, should I?
No,
should I?
No. If you're not,
no,
sure,
I shouldn't. I shouldn't. I'll get in trouble.
Yeah, you'll get.
But
in trouble.
I do know, like, Microsoft has some plans with regards to how they show up on PC, shall I say?
Mm.
And I don't know what that pertains to with regards to Steam, but the plans that I know about, and I'm being very careful here, kind of suggest it gives them a window to potentially pull out of Steam. So I would not be shocked if eventually we do see a universe where Microsoft quits Steam.
Oh man, that'd be interesting.
But I mean, we'll have to wait and see. I think it could go either way right now. I'm doing my research.
I expect a Tom Warren article in 2 hours. We have Rave Damos. Based on your article, Jez, an open Project Helix pushing prices to $1,000 plus, and Xbox faces a pricing dilemma. Instead of repeating the Series X spec split, could Microsoft sell one hardware spec for Gen 10 under two business models? One, an open SKU for $1,000 plus with full Windows and Steam, and two, a closed subsidized SKU for less, with an optional digital unlock fee later. Are there tech precedents for software unlocking hardware after purchase, and could this solve the spec fragmentation we saw with the X and S?
There is a precedent, and Microsoft themselves offered a precedent. Windows on S mode. So Microsoft originally released a version of Windows which was closed and could only connect to the Microsoft Store. You couldn't install apps without Windows 11 Home or Windows 11 Pro, and you could upgrade S mode to turn S mode off. So the idea was that, like, for example, I bought my mom a Windows on S mode PC because I was like, she can't possibly get a virus on this, haha, So Windows on S mode is a great idea for my mom. My mom was a writer for a job, also a journalist, a sports journalist, and but she used to do it all by hand. She used to write by hand and then have someone type it. I was like, bro, it'd be so much faster if you just typed it yourself, and just learned to type. So I bought her a PC, Windows on S mode, and it was locked to the Microsoft Store. So there is precedent, but I also just don't think Microsoft would do that. I think like users would, I don't know, find it irritating, maybe, and it'd be difficult to market. I don't know. But it would be a solution potentially. And like I honestly don't know why Steam didn't do this. Maybe it's just because, I don't know, maybe it's because everything uses off-the-shelf parts now. Maybe it's easy to jailbreak. It's so easy to jailbreak that it's pointless. I don't know. There's probably some technical reason behind it, but yeah. I think it's something they've probably considered.
We have Boris26 says, hello, Rand Jez. Do we know why Fable was not able to be pulled from the PS5, but Gears E-Day was? Or was this a choice by Asha and team to try and maximize Fable's commercial opportunities since it's gone so over budget? Keep it gaming. I think it's because they announced them for PlayStation and they didn't want to pull back like they promised it, so they're going to stick to their commitments. Where like Gears wasn't announced for PlayStation, so if you were going to make a game exclusive, you could easily do it with Gears because Gears wasn't promised to PlayStation. I think that's really it. Like, if Halo, there's a world out there where like Halo and Fable weren't announced for PlayStation, Asa comes in and they keep them exclusive, or maybe not. But I think it's simply that it's like they already announced them, they already made commitments, and they're not gonna, essentially be the bad guys in that regard. I don't know if you feel differently, Jez.
No, I think the same. It's like Microsoft wants to have a reputation for delivering on its promises, I guess, generally. And they'd already broken a shitload of promises with regards to what's it called? Perfect Dark, stuff like that.
Yes.
I think Jeff Grubb even said on a show that he was done with them because of Perfect Dark. I might be misrepresenting what he said, but I feel like
he said he doesn't trust them, is what he said. I think. So
I mean, trust's hard to win back. I mean, Xbox in general is really struggling on the trust front right now after canceling so many games, all the disruption we've seen over the last year. People are optimistic because of Asher now, but there has been so much disruption and all the rest of it. But yeah, I don't know.
Let's see here. We have Ulysses, who says World's Edge canceled Age 3's DE expansion in January of 2025 and put the game in maintenance mode. Then last week they uncanceled it out of nowhere. Jez, any intel on how and why that reveal happened, and what it signals for the Age franchise and Microsoft's other dormant IP like Warcraft and StarCraft? Rand, I know RTSs ain't your thing, but from the business side, what do you think reviving a game they publicly killed means for Xbox's future?
That's really interesting. I didn't know they'd canceled it and then uncanceled it. I
mean, I had heard they canceled it, and then it was like, oh, this canceled expansion is coming out. What does it mean? Like, what does it mean for Xbox's future? I mean, I think it means, I don't know say it means anything for Xbox's future, but I think it means that Age is pretty profitable. Because I mean, why else would you?
From what I've heard, Age is profitable.
Like, why else would you cancel a DLC only to bring it back? They must feel that like there was a surge in players or a surge in interest in, I don't know if this is necessarily true, but you know how like Jason Schreier was saying, hey, they canceled. Well, the team's working on Fallout, and even though like Avowed hasn't been canceled, it's been canceled, but there is a small team still working on Avowed 2, with the hopes that maybe you know, after Fallout ships or something, that they can be like, hey, Avowed 2's in this state. Maybe we could release it if we get enough support. And then Xbox was like, okay. Maybe like
Yeah.
there was some devs working on it in secret or something where like sort
Yeah.
of was close to a finished state and they were just like, hey, we could do this. And they're
Fuck
like,
it.
okay, you know, I don't know. I'm just throwing stuff at a wall here, seeing what sticks.
I could probably find out. Yeah, leave it with me. I'll try and dig and send me a DM so I don't forget. Because oftentimes, like, I want to investigate things for people, and there's so many things I'm trying to investigate right now. Like, I worked a lot on people's accounts being banned, for example. I got dozens of people's accounts unbanned over the last couple of weeks. So trying to work with Xbox, to connect people to Xbox and stuff. Because Microsoft's working through like a backlog now of people who've been banned unfairly and they're getting their accounts unbanned now. And apparently like it was less Xbox and more Microsoft account teams policies, but they're working on like a new support flow for people who've been impacted that way, so they don't have to go through Microsoft support teams to get some of that shit fixed. So I've been working a lot on that recently, but I'm also gonna look into the Call of Duty stuff because I do think it's a bit shit that you know there's clearly demand for Call of Duty Black Ops, a version that isn't hacked, and the Xbox version is hacked, and then you've got like the PC version, which is even worse. So like, I want to look into that as well. So just send me a DM, and I'll try and look into the Age of Empires stuff and see what their plans are for it, because um, I do have some sources on that side.
I think let's see. We have Scarcely Relevant. It says, okay, boys, April of 2027 makes 10 years of Xbox 2. Next year, that's crazy. No, yeah, it actually
Oh,
does.
what, really?
Yeah, well, I mean, we started April of
10 years?
2017. So the
Oh
fans
my
of
god, that's crazy.
moments we remember that stay with us: Physical Dicks, Bone Cream, One Chip Challenge, Rand's story about his sleeping friend in the Mayo. I actually did tell that story, didn't I? Yes, I did.
Yes, she did.
What
Yes,
is
she
the
did.
memory that comes to mind when thinking about the last 10 years? Someday someone has to interview you both about the last 10 years. Cheers. I don't know. Is an interview worthy about 10 years of Xbox 2? I mean, was you laid out some pretty good like moments for sure. Um
The one chip challenge was hilarious.
I mean it sure
I've
was.
I've tried I've tried to get those guys to do it again, and no one will do it again
Well,
with
yeah,
me.
cuz who would want to do it? It's pretty
It
awful when you
wasn't
think
that
about it.
bad. I feel bad. Hoggy, man. Hoggy, I think,
It's true.
because Hoggy had a really bad stomach after doing it. I think the dude just swallowed it. I think he's trying to be clever, and he was like, you know what? I'll bypass this whole like burning my mouth thing. I'll just swallow the chip, and I'll be clever. But then like 20 minutes later, Hoggy was really, really ill.
Yeah, yeah.
So we need
You
a
you
do
know,
over. Hoggy
you'll
cheated.
never get me to do one of those things. So,
Ah man.
me and spicy stuff
Uh,
do not mix well. Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, like
Whenever I go to a show and
there's been a lot of ups and
people talk about
downs.
it,
There's been a lot of ups and downs. Like some regarding acquisitions. Like we were there for them buying a bunch of those studios in 2018 and Bethesda and ABK. And then we were down,
yeah,
the multi-platform stuff and some of the stuff recently. So we've been through the ups and downs of
been
Xbox
through the
and
ringer.
their releases and stuff of that stuff. So, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know necessarily remember specific episodes, but I mean, it's been a blast for the last 10 years. Somebody asked me earlier do you it must be hard for you to run an Xbox podcast, and I'm like, no, I still enjoy doing the show, and if I didn't enjoy doing the show, I wouldn't do the show. I'd just cancel it. I'd be like, Jez, we're done. I'm not doing the podcast anymore. And you're
Yeah.
like, oh. I'm like, yeah, I mean, it's like, it must be hard. People don't like Xbox anymore. And I'm like, I mean, there are people, sure, there are people that don't, but but there are like people that want like an honest take about what's going on here. And I have my qualms about how some things will go, and I have my questions about some of the future stuff, and we'll see how it all plays out. But at the end, I think people just want um, a good conversation, and they don't want like super over the top uh, bullshit, like you see from slop tubers and other people that will talk. Because And one thing I'll say, at least for myself and for Jez, is like we use the platform all the time. Like you can listen to other people talk about Xbox, but like they don't
They don't
know the
use it.
platform. They don't use it. So for them, it's like, yeah, Xbox should die. It's great. I can get my PlayStation games on, or my Xbox games on my on PlayStation. That's awesome. But it's like they don't know what any of that shit is because they don't use the platform. So they speak from this sense of superiority that they have because they chose the right system. Like I mentioned before, like a lot of the game journalists out there, they try to position themselves as like above it all. But believe me, you, they are just raging fanboys as anybody else. Secret Discord, secret DMs. I've seen them. I know. So just, you know, you may think someone out there is like, oh, like he's even keeled. No, raging fanboy. They all are. You know what I mean? I mean, hell, we've had executives. I know executives at these companies that are raging fanboys. I mean, I don't,
Yep.
whatever. Like, you can try to pretend, but Rand knows. I've seen it. So, yeah, we've seen it all. I think. Let me see. Let me reload this. See if there's any more questions.
I think there's some super chats too, but there's also this thing that I think people genuinely underestimate Xbox. Like there are still millions of people who actively play on Xbox, and whether they're locked in or just concerned about the future of the platform, or whether they're just happy, or maybe they're just genuinely happy about it. You know, there are still millions of people on this platform, and by all accounts, they're over engaged. So Xbox doesn't have the casual audience like PlayStation does. So the people that are on Xbox are like very like overly engaged. They're like disproportionately engaged, which I think is why like you see Xbox disproportionately represented in discussions and the media and all the rest of it, because even though it's got less users, those are very, very fucking passionate users. And I see it when I go to shows. I see it when I go to like, you know, talk to people online, like my DMs. Like if nobody was interested in this shit, we wouldn't have a podcast, we wouldn't have an audience, you know. So don't underestimate this community.
Yeah. Super chat here from Mr. Tapwater. Any chance to ask Asha about Xbox game preservation? I mean,
Haven't had that chance to ask her yet. It's kind of one of them, like, I really hope that I do get another interview with Asha soon, because a lot of things have changed in a very short space of time, I think. You know?
sure.
So the peeps want to know. There's so much I want to ask her again.
Yeah. Well, I think that's it. No more questions. So anything else you want to talk about? Oh, I mean,
Yeah.
I guess briefly, Xbox announced what they're doing at Gamescom. So they got
Oh
FanFest
yeah,
again.
they've
What else they hear? They said they're featuring 25 games and 140 gaming stations. Like Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4, Fable, Minecraft Dungeons 2, Gears E-Day, Metro, 2039, Stranger Than Heaven, Alien Isolation 2. Uh,
something secret from what I've heard.
Something secret, huh?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, Gears E-Day brings the first playable public hands-on experience with campaign to Gamescom, so you get an early look at that. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4 takes center stage, stepping the franchise signature core 6v6 multiplayer on Series X. You can play
Kind of
Minecraft.
going hard.
You can play Minecraft Dungeons 2 for the first time. And for the first time ever, Fable will have a live demo theater presentation by Playground Games showing live gameplay to the public, taking fans on a hero's journey that highlights its smooth and responsive combat. Seamlessly combine melee range and magical abilities to forge a combat style that feels uniquely. I'd love to see that. So you're going, right? You're going to Gamescom?
I'm not
Okay.
going to Gamescom this year, fortunately.
Well,
I
hopefully
kind of increasingly wonder if I made the right decision there, because there's a lot of shit going down at Gamescom this year.
yeah, the Fable
But I'm
thing
going to BlizzCon.
You can also play Stranger Than Heaven, which is pretty cool. You can get hands-on with Metro 2039 for the first time, ahead of its release in February.
Game of the year next year, guaranteed.
Yeah. And then there's Halo, Campaign Evolved, Forza Horizon 6, and stuff. That's the stuff going on with Gamescom. Did it say when Gamescom is?
It's
Uh,
early September, isn't it?
I thought it
Or
was
is it
like
late
I thought
August?
it was late August.
Yeah, maybe it's late August.
Yeah, like August 25th to the 30th. It looks like Xbox will be streaming some of those days, and they got FanFest going on there. So yeah, that's everything. So hope you guys enjoyed the show. Enjoy your weekend. I think it's supposed to rain like later today and then rain
I
forever.
hope so.
Hopefully it
I
doesn't. We
hope
don't get a
so.
bad storm. Shut up. I don't want to
Send
lose
it here,
power
man.
again.
I want a
You know what it
storm,
is,
bro.
man? Like when you lose power, that shit sucks, bro. There's nothing to do. Especially like my phone.
I've never experienced that.
My phone chews through batteries so bad. Like I need to replace the battery. So like, but like when it's night and you can't have the turn on, like, and the house just there's can't do nothing, bro. Like you can't even read. At least be like, if I could read, but I can't. There's no light, so it's like, well, I guess
Get
I'm just gonna.
candles,
I have no
like
candles,
the World
bro.
War Two.
I mean, I don't got no candles.
Get candles like World War Two, bro.
But even candles don't really, they don't light up an area enough where, you know, to be able to read. You know, like I need light somewhat bright to be able to read. I can't, like, I don't want it to be dim when I'm straining my eyes trying to read something. I guess maybe I need to buy like a desk lamp that runs on battery or something like that, where if power does go out, I can just turn it on through the battery. But yeah, it sucks because it's like 8 o'clock, it's pitch black, and it's like, well, I guess it's time to go to bed. You know, nothing, can't do anything else. But hopefully that doesn't happen again. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, check out our sponsor, Surfshark, and the deal 86% off. 2-year deal, surfshark.com/XB2. You can support us directly at our Patreon, patreon.com/XB2. And yeah, if you're listening to this later on Spotify or iTunes, I guess you can leave us a like or write us a review, 5 stars, all that great stuff.
Drop a comment.
We'll be back next week. See what's going on in the game industry then, what's going on with Xbox. Enjoy your weekend and keep it gaming. Later.
Rock and roll, baby.